media has now grown into a global phenomenon that has impacted millions of people. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the one and only Mr. Brian Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Zuri. As usual, an amazing introduction. What's this thing here?
This is the gong.
The gong.
This is the gong, yes.
All right, more to that later, right? It's kind of a secret what's happening with that gong. Thank you for the introduction. Look, I'm pumped about tonight's masterclass because, let's face it, broadcasting is my life, right? It's how most people know who we are because we put that first touch point out there. I decided about 7 years ago that I was going to put myself on camera. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. All my old banker buddies made fun of me, but by doing it, everything changed. And so tonight I want to teach people 3 simple steps so they can basically get on iTunes, get on YouTube, and start broadcasting. I'm going to teach people to do it tonight if they want to do it. So that's the plan.
Very nice. I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
And enjoy.
All right, folks, this is it. Super excited about teaching you how to launch an award-winning podcast in 3 simple steps. Of course, I'm Brian Rose, and you're here live at London Real World Headquarters. This is where the magic happened, folks. You see the curtains, you've seen the leather chairs, and Winston. I broadcast from here basically every single day in some capacity. Episodes, keynote calls, live on Facebook, you name it. And I want to teach you tonight how you can start broadcasting yourself in 3 simple steps. This is going to be crucial because I'm going to teach you the things that most people don't. The truth is that the big mistakes people make is they don't plan out their podcast, which is why most people quit before 3 episodes are finished. That's the truth, folks. But if you really want to be in this for the long run, if you want to have an episode that lasts 5 or 10 episodes for your podcast, or go a year or 5 years or 7 years like London Real, I've spoken to over 500 people, then you have to start with the basics. You really have to outline this out, and I'm going to teach you how to do that tonight. But before we get started, I want you to type in the chat, tell me, what city are you from? What country are you from? I bet we have people from 6 different continents tonight. We always have huge representation here in the UK, in Europe, in America, South America. We have people that stay up until 4 in the morning in Australia, in New Zealand, in Hong Kong, everywhere around the world because we are a global brand because we decided to start broadcasting. And that's what you can do too. So type in what city you're from. Next, I want you to tell me, what is your podcast idea? Just throw it out there. Now is the time to really put the ideas out there. We're going to brainstorm tonight. There are no wrong answers. And you never know. London Real started as a crazy idea I had 7 years ago. Funny enough, I was going to call it London Real Deal. Funny enough. And I decided the last minute to cut off the deal. And thank God I did because that would have been goofy. But if you want to put that out tonight, it's okay. It all starts with ideas. Let's not judge each other. Let's just try to make something happen tonight. So type that in and I'll come to the tape shortly and check with you when I introduce Mr. Bales. But first, before I get started, I want to spend the next 45 minutes with you giving you actionable information. I need your attention. So do me a favor. Pull out that piece of glass and metal in your pocket that vibrates all day and basically distracts you and put it on airplane mode. I'm on airplane mode right now because I respect your time, respect my time. Put it on airplane mode and close down all of those other browser tabs. You know what I'm talking about. You probably have 30 of them up there. And close them down. Close down Instagram and Facebook and whatever the hell else you're watching on video. It's none of my business. Shut them down. Take the dog and cat, throw them out of the room. Tell your wife or girlfriend or husband or boyfriend you will not be available for the next 45 to 60 minutes because you're working on your future. All right? So do that for me. Lock in and pay attention. You came here tonight, so I want to give you the show up bonus, and that is Kevin Kelly's Success Secrets. This is a piece of video that I've never shared with anyone outside of our academy. Kevin Kelly is the founder of Wired Magazine. Super wise guy, and he's known for his concept of your 1,000 true fans. I'm going to share this with you in part 3 tonight, and it's the way to build a business out of your podcast. So you can have that for free. The link will be in the chat, but don't watch it now. Now is the time to pay attention. And I've got a second bonus for you I'm going to share at the end of this masterclass, so stay tuned for that. And the truth is about podcasting and broadcasting in general is that most people buy a microphone, they plug it in, they record something, they dump it on iTunes, and they just keep going. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what guests they're going to have, and they kind of stumble along. And what happens is that's not sustainable. They soon find that they run out of time, they're not inspired, they can't get the guests because they don't know where they're going. And there's no way that you can last past 5 episodes or 10 episodes or 1 year or 5 years or even 7 years like London Real unless you have a game plan, a blueprint. So tonight, we're going to get disciplined about that. As my friend Jocko Willink would say, the U.S. Navy SEAL, discipline equals freedom. If you can really plan out your future, you can have the freedom to broadcast, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. You can also have the freedom to build a business out of this, which is what I'm going to teach you as well. So that's what's happening tonight. This masterclass is in 3 parts. The first is start with why. I want you to determine your core values. This is super important. Second part is I want to determine your podcast topic. Yes, you and me, we're going to come up with the topic and the idea for your podcast tonight. I want you to choose wisely or you're going to die. And I hate to give it to you straight, folks, but you will die on the vine unless you plan this wisely. There's over 2 million podcasts on iTunes. Who cares about 2 million one? Well, I'm going to show you how to choose a topic so people will tune in and listen. Finally, I'm going to talk about this concept of your 1,000 true fans. You are going to bulletproof your podcast by determining the audience before you start taping. This is what I teach, and it works every single time. And once you build an audience, you can build a business around it. It's actually very easy, and I'm going to share that with you tonight. But why are you here? Well, you're here because you want to broadcast yourself, right? You want to take your passion and turn it into a movement. You want to add value to other people's lives. You want to connect with key persons of influence. You want to meet the idols you had as a kid, have them come over to your house, and then become friends with them. That's what happened to me. You're also probably tired of being unfulfilled. Maybe you're tired of working at a job you hate. Maybe you're tired of having no direction or no purpose in your life. Trust me, I was there too before I started broadcasting. And maybe you just want to have deep conversations that have meaning. When was the last time you had one of those? I get to have them every day here in this studio. Maybe you want to meet influencers. Maybe you want to impact people. Maybe you want to build a tribe around you. But I think most importantly, you want to find your purpose. Broadcasting is the way to do it. It's going to hyper-connect you into this world. It's going to make you more human, and it's going to take your life on a trajectory that will become great. Now, I'm not saying this won't take work. It will, but it'll be the most rewarding thing you ever do if you decide to pull the trigger and do this. And I'll talk about more of that later. As you know, I'm the banker that turned broadcaster. I moved to London in 2002 with the dream of becoming the greediest banker that ever lived. And to be honest, over 9 years, I pretty much was successful at that. I made millions in the city, and at the same time, I became heavily depressed. I became an alcoholic. I was lonely, I had no family, and I had a duplex flat in Shoreditch, and no one ever came over because I was a bad energy person to be around. And I started meditating, and one day I realized that Brian Rose wasn't happy. And so I walked out of that bank and I started broadcasting. Something just told me I had to do this thing. I didn't know why. But I turned the cameras on, and yes, it was scary. And yes, I knew people would talk smack about me. And yes, I knew I would fail. And yes, I knew I'd be embarrassed. But it drew me to do it anyways. And now I know why. Because it was the world trying to say, Brian, why don't you be a part of this thing that we call the human race? Why don't you give something back for once as opposed to taking from it all the time? And it was trying to lead me in the right direction. And I made every mistake in the book. And I failed at this and failed at that. And now I see exactly how to do it. And I want to share that with you tonight. And the truth is, I started broadcasting and I did okay. But around year 3, because I'm super dogmatic and super relentless and I don't give up, I lasted 3 years, but I started to lose touch. I started to almost give up and really wonder what I was doing. And it was at that time where I finally got a game plan. And that's what I'm going to teach you tonight, how to get a game plan before you start. And when I got mine, you saw everything change, right? You saw the studio change. You saw the academy being born. You saw us making movies. You saw us move into the brand new world headquarters. You saw us turning it into a 7-figure, soon to be 8-figure business, all because I had a game plan. And that's what we're going to do tonight together. So pay attention. Go big with me on here. If I ask you a question, type it into the chat. No tourists tonight. Everyone is required to give me an answer. There are no wrong answers. So make sure you go ahead and type those things I asked in earlier, what city you're from, and of course, what's the name of your podcast. And the ultimate conclusion is this. Now I'm living my purpose. Now I'm living my passion. And now, unlike 4 years ago when I come home at night, I look like this. I've actually got a smile. Mariana can see that I'm happy. My kids, I'm building something they're going to watch one day. My sons Caden and Damon, they're going to be proud of their father. Before I had my purpose, they wouldn't have felt that. I came home frustrated, depressed every night. Now I have a plan and I want to teach you to do the same thing. So before we get started and go to your chats, I just want you to do me one last favor. I want you to close your eyes. And yes, humor me, I am from California. Close your eyes and I want you to just visualize your future. Visualize having that award-winning podcast. Visualize some of the greatest guests in the world, influencers, key people of influence, coming over to your flat, coming over to your house and having these long conversations with you, becoming your friends, partnering in business, helping you make millions, doing live events with them, making movies with them. Imagine people stopping you on the street and saying, hey, that show that you did, it really changed my life. And you're like, thank you. They're like, no, it really did change my life. Every morning you open up your inbox and you get thanks from people all around the world, in Australia and in America and South America and France and Germany, saying, thank you so much for doing what you do. You find that you just live a whole new invigorated life. And from there, you turn it actually into a business. You quit your job, you travel the world, do what you want to do. Just picture that. Now open your eyes and just think, you can make that a reality. I was exactly where you were 7 years ago. I had no clue and I made it happen. Tonight, I want to show you how. I just need you to believe in that possibility. So let's make it happen. As you know, I believe in action and accountability here. Let's check in with our head of strategy, Mr. Julian Bales, who's always manning the lines. He's the one that is actually talking to you. How's the crowd tonight? And also, where are they from and what are their podcast ideas?
Crowd is buzzing tonight, Mr. Rose. We have people from all over the world. Let's start with the Philippines. We have Baga in Manila, Philippines.
Must be 3 a.m. there. Fantastic.
It is, yeah.
Right, that's dedication. That's someone who wants to broadcast.
We have our man Lachlan in Australia. It's 6 a.m. there.
Wow. Now, Lachlan's amazing. He's a graduate of 2 of our accelerator courses, I think Business Accelerator and Life Accelerator. Looks like he's snooping around on broadcast, so great to have you here. And again, every time I see Lachlan on our live calls, it's dark around him because it's always 3 or 4 in the morning, but that's what it takes to get places. So great to see you, buddy.
We have Stephen in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Fantastic.
Hane in Copenhagen. Himanshu in Bombay, India.
Fantastic.
Vladimir in Sofia, Bulgaria. And Robert in Timisoara, Romania.
I love it. Like, this might be a surprise to you, but this is the global community of London Real. And this is what happens when you broadcast. If you look at our YouTube audience, it's spread across so many countries around the world. I think it's 120 different countries. And so on any of our live calls inside our academy, we have people in 14 different time zones. So this might sound weird to you, but these are the people that'll actually also give you a great cross-section and feedback on your ideas.
Other side of the pond, we've got Dorinda in Denver.
Okay.
Tasha in LA. And Kevin in Fort Lauderdale.
Fantastic. Wow. Nice to have the Yanks in the house. Nice to see some of my fellow Californians in there as well. So great to represent. Anyone else of note, or does that give us a good cross-section?
That's a pretty good cross-section.
Good. Well, you know, Mr. Bales, you've seen this whole thing happen over the last 7 years. I mean, you watched London Real happen, you know, right under your eyes. And the truth is, all it takes is someone willing to just pull the trigger and take a chance and follow this blueprint, and they can have this stream of a podcast. The truth is, most people let fear stop them, and they let inaction stop them. But you know that they can do this, right?
Anyone can do it. You just got to pull the trigger, like you say, start broadcasting, and then stay consistent.
Yeah. Well, let me get started, all right? I want to teach this tonight. And again, I've taught over 500 people these techniques. I've watched it happen. Some of these people go from 17 years old to 77 years old. Some of them have no education. I've taught PhDs. I've taught Wall Street traders. I've taught nurses, doctors, movers, everyone. You can do this too. All you have to do is jump in and apply yourself. So let's start with part 1. And I want to start big, folks. And that's with this concept of start with why. If you don't know why you're doing your podcast, you will quit, point blank. This was one of the problems I had for the first couple of years, and if you can figure this out now, you will lay the foundation to build an incredible structure. And this always makes me think of a quote by Roy Disney. And you know, Disney was an amazing company that did incredible things because they had a great foundation. And he said, when your values are clear to you, making decisions become easier. Let me say that one more time. When your values are clear to you, making decisions become easier. Now, that might sound strange, but if you can really know thyself and know what's important to you, then it's very easy for you to make strategic decisions about who you want on your show, what you want to talk about, where your integrity is, what you're willing to do and what you're willing not to do. This is important to use the discipline now and set this up, and you will have a podcast that will just go with momentum. And the people that don't do this, they get bored, they get tired, they get frustrated because they never know what direction they were going in the first place. So let's talk about that. As I said before, most people grab a microphone and they start talking. They have a good buddy over and then they wonder, well, what are we doing and what is exactly happening? And that's the biggest problem. And so when I started London Real, I was the same way. I was like, well, I want to broadcast, but I don't want to know why. And a few years later, I sat down and said, well, what do I really want? Well, I want to share amazing stories with the world. I want to teach people. I want to transform people. I want to tell great stories. I want to educate. I want to do all of those things. Those are my core values. And so it's important for you to need to know what your core values are. So let's get started with this. And again, go really big here and really go honest. And it starts with this. And you can take a look here. This is your values. And I'm going to do this exercise with you because it's very, very, very important. And so I want you to go ahead and do this now. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and do this with you as well. And this is a circle that's showing your values. All right? And this is very, very important that we get this right now. Okay? And I want to start with this because this is absolutely crucial. Because you need to determine what your real core values are. Every great company, every great movement, every great leader knows their core values. If we can get yours out now, your decisions are going to be easy. Plus, if you can communicate these, you're going to attract followers, listeners, guests, even partners. So go with me on this. This is the way we determine this. I want you to answer this question for me. What is most important to you in blank? Now, you can use this in a lot of ways. And inside the Broadcast Yourself Accelerator, I say what's most important to you in your audience, in your success, in your contribution. But right now, I want you to answer this question. What is most important to you in life? Tell me what's important. And before you start spitting things out like I want a nice car, I want lots of money, I want to be good looking, let me define something really quickly here because there's two concepts here. One is called a means value and an end value. And let me explain what that means. A car is more of a means value. If I say a car is important to me, I'll say, okay, a car is important, but what does that really mean? It means that you have freedom, or it means you have enough income to where you can buy something like that. So always give me the freedom as opposed to the car. Now you might say, I want a relationship or I want to get married, but that really is more of a means value. The end value is I want love. Or you might say I want money, but money really is a means value. The real end value is you want choices in your life. So try to brainstorm with me right now what your end values are. All right? And so start throwing them out there right now. Type them into the chat. Let me talk about some of mine here. First of all, I like to educate. That's something that's really important to me. Yeah? Education is important. Honesty is important. Integrity is important. I think transformation is super important. Transform, right? Those are my values. I think action is really, really important. Yeah? I believe accountability is really important. I think fun is important, right? We have to have fun. I'm big on respect. I think that's really important too. Start writing down these values for you because this will make a huge difference when it comes to identifying who you are and what you want to broadcast. And when you can tell other people about these things, then you can transfer your ideas out to them. And again, it could be purpose, it could be inspiration, it could be helping others, it could be making a difference in the world, it could be any of these things. But go ahead and throw out those right now, any value. And if you're not sure, just guess. But write these things down right now. You can put them in the workbook and type them in the chat because I want to go to them next. These will really determine where your show goes and what you're all about, and it'll help you decide on the guests, decide on what you want to talk about, and decide on your audience as well. And when I think about doing this, I always think about an exercise I did with one of my graduates named John McMahon. And I'm going to share with you a video of him right now. But before I do, John came to this course, and he actually was in my group. He had upgraded to the premium slot, and he was in his 50s. He was in California. He had had a successful career in telecoms when he was in the 80s and in the 90s, but now he was directionless. And I still remember my live call with him. I do a one-on-one call with my premium students. And he said, Brian, look at my office. And he had blank whiteboards all around him. And he said, Brian, I'm ready to go. And I walked him through this values exercise. And he started brainstorming. He said, well, wait a second, Brian. I wanted to do a podcast about picking up women. And I said, okay, John, that's cool, but tell me a bit more about you. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, John, this just doesn't sound like it's part of your core values. It sounds like something you saw on the internet and you want to do this because you think it might be a business. I want you to really think about what your core values are. And he said, okay, Brian, and he closed that call. And I had a call with him 1 week later, and he came back with a completely different idea, with an idea to talk about his own journey of failing himself and his body. He was suffering from type 2 diabetes. He was losing the sensation in his feet, and he decided that he wanted to educate the world. He wanted to teach the population of America to really think about their bodies and their health and their lifestyles and their meaning to the world. And once he wrote these values down, it became clear that he wasn't the pickup guy, that he was actually the guy that was going to change lives. And I'm telling you, folks, if he had made the wrong decision and gone with something on a whim, he would have done 5 episodes, he would have gotten tired, he would have gotten more depressed, but instead, he used broadcasting to transform his life. And I want you to watch this video about our successful graduate, John McMahon. He made $600,000 off of this podcast and business last year. This year, he said, Brian, I'm making millions. And here's John's story.
My name's John. 60 days ago, I was morbidly obese at 312 pounds and virtually on my deathbed with diabetes and its crippling complications.
Hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to your core.
Next, you'll see what inspired me to radically change my life.
We have something that we need to contribute to the world, and it's almost a moral responsibility that we have to wake that up and polish that. And I was getting stuck in my head most of the time. I didn't have, it wasn't an outlet. Doing those video logs and getting feedback from somebody in West Bengal, Himalayas, going up to Darjeeling, and, sending me a Skype message and say, John, man, you really touched me. You really inspired me with that, and going, just the humility of it. You can figure out, you can educate yourself for free on the internet. What you can't do is connect with a community, and you can't be successful alone.
Now John is broadcasting. He's making a whole documentary film. He traveled the nation, and he's putting his message out there. But I would argue that broadcasting actually saved John's life, because he was going in a place where he was going to die. And now, you look at the energy that he has. He would have never done these things and transformed his own health unless he was out there giving value to other people. But it started with his core values, and once he identified that, the future was clear. But I'm telling you, folks, if you make the wrong choice early on, you can go down a path of darkness and get more down a hole, or you can go a path into the light. And John pulled the trigger, he rang the gong, and he joined us for this crazy adventure. I remember he came to London for the graduation, and he met fellow classmate Michael Skye from the Accelerator course, and the two of them put this incredible business together, and I can't wait to see where John's going from here. And so I really want to find out about what your core values are. Again, go big on this, it will save you years of wasted time, potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in wasted money going down the wrong road and getting frustrated. And so, Julian, I'm really curious to see if people understand this concept. You know, it's a little strange because it's abstract. And a lot of people, they want to get the mics and they want to broadcast. That's what I did. I still remember setting up my webcams and building the desk. But that's the what. You have to start with why, as we know from Simon Sinek. What are people saying about this concept?
A lot of interesting values coming through here, Brian. We've got Matt who's saying truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance.
Good. I like that. I like that. I like that. Tolerance is really interesting. I'd like to explore that more with you. Compassion is nice. Truthfulness. Okay, very good.
Abby is saying helping others and finding purpose in life.
Okay, very good. Helping others and finding purpose in life. And again, in this second part, I'm going to show you where this is going. So this is very good.
Alan saying honesty, integrity, and transparency, super important these days online.
Yeah, very good. Look, transparency is so important, and I teach this on the broadcasting course. The truth is you have to be authentic these days on YouTube and on iTunes. Everyone sees right through it. So if you're not transparent, then it won't last very long. I like that core value.
I've got a word here that Martin brings up that Shep Gordon talked a lot about, service, connection, and awakening.
She's so important. I mean, literally, if you look at my journey and John McMahon's journey, and honestly, any broadcaster's journey, what are we doing? We're being of service to others. That's where the magic happens. It took me years to figure out this lesson. That's why I implore all of you to go on a broadcasting journey. Because when you give back to others, honestly, it's like having a key to open every door in the world, and you get invited to this party that no one told you about. It's called life. And so that's what this is about. Service is big. And again, folks, knowing these core values and sending these on an email to a guest and saying, Shep Gordon, we'd like to have you on the show because I'm all about transparency, compassion, and service. You have a good chance of getting a yes. If you say, I want you on my show because I want to talk about cornflakes, it's harder. So there's a real method to our madness here.
Interesting one here from Edward. He says, dismantling white supremacy.
Fantastic. Look, I love that. I love it's a strong core value. And again, right away, you know where you're going. I'd want to add a couple more core values around that, but it sounds like we know where you're going. And in my next section, we're going to talk more about topics. Good?
Yep.
All right, look, I'm on fire here. I'm going to keep going because I want to get to part 2. And again, folks, this is actionable information. So take your top 3 core values, and I want you to really write them down somewhere and know, and just constantly go through them and go through them later and tomorrow and make sure they're the 3 you want. And feel free to switch them out or switch another one in, but really get a base because you can explain this to someone really easily. Next, I want to talk about your podcast topic. But before we do, let me share you on some stats. From 2013 to 2017, the number of people in the United States who listen to podcasts doubled. Think about that figure and look at this graph here. You can see that from 2013, we went from 12% of the people in America that listen to a podcast at least once a month to 24%. This year, it could be even more, and that number could double or even triple in the next couple of years. That's hugely important to know. And what this means is this. There is plenty of market for you. And this is this concept called the long tail. And we saw it happen with Amazon, where Amazon can sell a book about skydivers who are vegan from Zimbabwe, and there might be 1,000 of those or 10,000 of those, and they'll sell that book because it can make money when the internet delivers that book. That would never work in the old world where you have to go to a bookstore because no one would stock that book. The same thing with podcasts. When we know that there's literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of people out there listening, it means all you have to do is carve out the right niche. And so let's talk about your podcast topic because this is super important. And as you can see, I want you to go ahead and think about these 2 circles because you're going to see where podcast topic overlaps your podcast values. And I'm going to draw these circles again just for you so you really understand what's happening, all right? So, again, we've got your values, which we talked about, right? Some of you said transparency. I love that, right? Transparency. Integrity. I love that, right? Service. Really enjoy that. Your whole podcast promotes people giving back to each other, helping other people along their way. I like transform. London Real isn't here to make you feel motivated for the day. I want to see you transform your life. to where you can't even recognize the person you are 6 months from now. That's what the Academy is all about. My core value is the reason I teach today. These are crucial. Now, I want you to think about your topics, right? What are you actually going to talk about? Because it's hard to talk about transparency and service and freedom and these kinds of things. You'll eventually need a what. And so I want you to ask this question to yourself now. What topic gets your undivided attention? What topic, if you met me for the first time, could you talk my ear off for hours? I'm thinking about mine right now. I could talk to you about MMA for hours. I could talk to you about body weight training. I could talk to you about breakdancing. I could talk to you about broadcasting. I could talk to you about the art of the interview. I could talk to you about how to make a business, about how to lead a team, about what it's like to live in London as an expat. I mean, these are things I could talk for hours about, and you'd have to tell me to shut up. This is what I'm looking from you. What are those things that you would talk about even if you didn't get paid? Super important here. Next question I want to ask you, what podcasts do you listen to? What YouTube channels do you listen to? These are the kind of things I want you to write in here. So for me, MMA, yes. Broadcasting, yes. I could talk about teaching. I actually teach more around here than I do broadcast now. Super important. I could talk about being an expat. Yes, I love that. I could talk about business. Yes, I love that. I could talk about B-Boy. Yes, I like that too. I could talk about Iron Man these days. More on that soon. What else could I talk about? Being a parent. I'm getting pretty good at that. These are stuff that I know I can talk about. I want you to write all these things down in your topics. And again, there's no wrong answers. I could also love to talk about a 1968 Ford Mustang, right? That's the car, my first car I had in high school. I spent $1,200 on it. I took it apart. I put it back together. I can tell you everything about it, right? That's another thing I could talk about. So I want you to think about those examples. Now, I want you to also think about where those topics overlap with your values. This is where it gets really interesting. Now, funny enough, transformation was one of my values, and teaching is one of my values. That's kind of interesting. And of course, I've got transparency and integrity here in service, and how could I do that in a way where one of my topics would also overlap that? And you'll see that certain topics align with certain core values. This is where you want to trend. If a certain topic doesn't align with a core value, I would stay away from it. Now, I could talk all day about a 68 Ford Mustang. I could talk about the 302 engine versus the 289, the six-cylinder versus the V8. But that's not going to give me a chance to transform people, to educate people, to really change the game. So I want you to think about what topic is going to overlap with your values. This is really, really important, folks. I want you to think about. And I want to tell you about some of the people inside that I've taught how to broadcast. And I want to tell you what some of those people are doing with some of their values. Now, one of my graduates is named Stephen Turner, and he created a podcast called Lawyers of Tomorrow. And he wanted to transform the legal business by showing them how to use artificial intelligence and the internet to get rid of the old partner-based system. And this is where one of his topics of legality went over the topic of disruption, which was one of his core values. Those two together created the Lawyers of Tomorrow podcast. You can look it up, and he made an amazing transformation. Another one of my students named Roger Brooks has a show called American Real. Roger is all about some of these major core values. He wants to inspire. He wants to educate people. But what he likes to do is he likes to tell people's personal stories of getting through adversity. That was the topic that he really, really loved. But he didn't want to tell someone's story of getting through adversity about some random value. It was all about his core values. So he pre-selects the guests that will transform what's most important to him. And he made a show called American Real. He's one of our graduates, and I've brought him back now, and he's going to be one of the instructors on the Broadcast Yourself course, because I think it's easier for people to learn from someone who's actually gone through my process and my blueprint. And of course, I also had a good friend of mine in Finland who came on to be my team, and he was a stuntman. And yet, he wanted to do his core values of teaching in the industry and transforming the industry to being a safer place. And so what he did is he took stuntmen and he interviewed them and got across his core value message of changing the industry, safety coming first, better compensation for the people. So you can see, you can build your topics and your values in any interest out there. So I want you to go ahead now and type in some of the topics that you might use. Just type them in, and again, really blue sky it. But start to think about where are these going to overlap, because this is where London Real was created, right here, where my topics overlapped my values. And that's what I want you to go ahead and type in there right now. And I want to give you feedback on some of those topics, whether I think it's something you can do or if it's going to align with your values. But while you type that in, I want you to learn a little bit about my good friend Roger Brooks and the story of American Real.
I love story. Our lives are story. We engage through story. Now that I am doing American Real, I am able to help tell other people's stories. And there's an art to that. I want people to be inspired by the content. And it's not me, it's the guest. I want them to learn from the guests, as I'm learning from the guests. And once you start to see progress, to me it's motivating and makes you want to work harder to get to the next piece. Now you're pushing us to record episodes. So I had guests in, and I'm learning the technology. And of course we had many challenges and lots of resistance, but I don't know, you just persevere, because when you have a passion for something, you find a way to get it done. I think the biggest breakthrough, I would say after episode 3. And the guests, a couple of guests came up to me after saying, "Thank you for that interview. This was the best interview of my life." That's when I knew, okay, I'm on the right track. I need to keep doing this. I need to tell people stories. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because when you do it, you'll be surprised the response that you receive.
I still remember when I first met Roger Brooks, and he had sent me a message and said, "Brian, I want to start American Real." And I said, "Roger, you can't take a whole country. You got to pick a city, just like everyone did. There's New York Real, there's LA Real, there's Dublin Real." And he said, "No, Brian, I want to take the whole country." And I was like, "No, you can't do it." But once I saw the passion he had and his values and his topics and the way he put so much into those episodes, I was like, dude, you got it. And if you see what he's created, it's absolutely amazing. But it's because he had the roadmap and the blueprint of where he was going, and that's why he's been so successful. So let me check in with you. I'm really curious to see the range of topics. I kind of want to give you feedback on whether I think your topic is going to be something good, and I want to give you the final piece right after this that's going to narrow things down even further and give you the perfect idea that you can start broadcasting with. What are people saying?
Let's start with Alex Da Silva. He's saying MMA, CrossFit, business coaching, and meditation.
Okay, love it. Look, the MMA is great. CrossFit is great. Meditation. Okay, these are all very, very good topics. I think they're general, but that's okay, because in part 3 here, I'm going to show you how to make it more specific, but that's very, very good.
Kansu says, how toxic shame causes addiction.
Wow, okay, that's deep, and I like this. How toxic shame causes addiction. We've been talking a lot about this lately. You probably saw my interview yesterday with Johan Hari. We spoke for 3 hours about topics like this. Dr. Gabor Mate as well. I think this is fascinating. Again, you put this in with the right core values, that's going to be an amazing way to present to the world what you want. You're going to land amazing guests, and you're going to get the right show. So I think that's perfect. Part 3 will really make this thing sing.
Robert is saying the law of attraction.
The law of attraction. Okay, I don't know what that means right away, so maybe if you could be a bit more specific and let me know. Again, the more specific you could be now, the better. Is that pickup? Is that something else? And if it is, just be more specific. The more specific, the better, and I'll talk more about that in the next section.
Kim was listing out a number of topics here: comics, games, technology, self-improvement, psychology, diet, pretty much all the things that he looks at on YouTube. But then he said, you just made me realize a core value that overlaps with my interest. He says all of his interests are related to how to communicate feelings.
Interesting. Wow. How to communicate feelings. Okay, because you're doing that in all of those different mediums, I believe. I believe that it's passion that's going to get you through those long nights. It's going to be passion that gets you through that episode that gets lost on your computer and you can't get it back. It's passion that gets you through the time when the guests cancel on you. This happens to us every day. So you want to pick that topic that, like I said, you would broadcast even if nobody was listening. That's what you really have to do. And I remember having that comment about a year into London Real where I was like, how many people are watching this week? And then I said to someone, I was like, who cares? I love doing this. So pick the one that you really like. And again, always go back to the core value. Super important. Like I said, I could have talked about the 1968 Mustang. I know a ton about it. But if it doesn't actually intersect with one of my core values, it's not going to mean something to me. It's not going to have anything to do with my why. So look, this is a complex concept, but if you can nail it on the head, it will give you fuel for years to push through those difficult times. And there will be tough times. And that's why most people don't have their own podcast, because they get shot down without that perfect planning.
I think Steven's hit that one right here. He says, I would love to start a podcast called Steve's Cult Classics, where I discuss and review great movies and TV shows from the 80s and 90s. Sounds like he'd love doing that whether people were listening or not.
Yeah, look, I love that idea. And again, I think that's fantastic. Make sure you think 2 or 3 times about also what's the core value there. That's a great what. You sound super passionate. But the people that walk away, what do they leave with? They probably leave with a little bit of you, your optimism, your belief in the future of humanity, your belief in always giving back to other people and helping them entertain themselves. So always think with the underlying values. The why really shows people what you're all about. Good?
Good.
All right, cool. I want to finish here on this third part, and this is very, very important concept, so make sure you pay attention. This is a concept called your 1,000 true fans. Pay attention. There's a man named Kevin Kelly. He was my guest here on London Real, and like most of my great ideas, I got them because I had a guest in my studio, and they taught me this stuff. That's the beauty of broadcasting, and you'll do the same if you'll pull the trigger on your show. And he said, Brian, I have this concept called your 1,000 true fans, and it goes a little bit like this. He said, if you create a podcast, if you create anything and you focus on your 1,000 true fans, a true fan is someone that will listen to every one of your podcasts. They'll go watch the video on YouTube. They'll buy your book. They'll buy the t-shirt. They'll drive 2 hours to see you at a live event. They'll basically go out of their way and consume everything that you will have to offer. And he said, Brian, this fan will spend between $60 and $100 per year on you, which gives you, the broadcaster or the artist, $60,000 to $100,000. With that, you can pretty much focus on your artwork or your podcast full time. And Kevin says if you focus on those 1,000 people, not the 1 million people, then that's how you're actually going to grow your audience, make them passionate, and then you can expand that audience. And most times, people focus on too broad an audience. I want to talk about meditation. I want to talk about mixed martial arts. It's so general that you never get traction. And so I want to talk now about really thinking about who are those 1,000 true fans. And let me go to the board here and graphically illustrate exactly what I'm talking about, because it's kind of a complicated concept that not everyone understands. Now, let's talk about the values, right? We have our values here. And then let's talk about our topics. So we have our values here and our topics. Now, we've done our brainstorming, and we found we've got lots of values here. We wrote them out. We found we had lots of topics, and then we found that there was an overlap, something we're super passionate about that's happening in both of those things. And after that, we're like, okay, but how can we narrow that down? And the final way is finding your audience. These are the people that are actually going to care about what you're talking to. And the beauty is that you want to narrow this audience down into your first 1,000 true fans. And this changes everything. This really is a huge concept because you have a potentially massive audience that's out there, whether it's in comic books or whether it's MMA or whether it's CrossFit. You really want to focus on what is that 1,000 true fans. So let's talk about them. And I want to ask you 5 questions right now, and I want you to type those answers into the chat. Answer this for me now. First of all, what is the age range of your listener? What's their average age? Tell me that. Now, for London Real, I happen to know that my age range primarily is between 27 and 37 years of age. Go ahead and type yours in right now. Maybe you're speaking to high school students about how to get A's in school. Then it's going to be 17. Maybe you're doing a podcast about how senior citizens can move abroad, like Lisa May from Expat Real, one of our graduates. Maybe you're talking to someone like London Real between 27 and 37. But type that in right now. What's their age range? Next, where do they live? Are you talking to someone in a specific geographical region? Are you talking to someone from America? Are you talking to someone in Europe? Maybe you're speaking to someone only in Australia, but talk about where do they live. Next, I want you to tell me, what kind of podcasts do they listen to? What YouTube channels do they watch? For London Real, I know that people like to listen to the Joe Rogan Experience that listen to us, definitely. They like to listen to Tim Ferriss, definitely. They like to listen to Hardcore History, Dan Carlin, who's going to be here on the show in the next 2 weeks. So Hardcore History, right? Who else do they listen to? Rich Roll Podcast, The Vegan Athlete. They like to listen to them. Type those in because you're already learning even more about those 1,000 True Fans. What are their dreams? What do they want to do in this world? If you're talking about movies from the 80s, maybe they want to direct movies one day. If you're talking about meditation or CrossFit, maybe they want to compete in the game someday. Talk about what are their dreams. For London Real, they dream of making a difference in this world. They dream of transforming themselves, of being of service to others, of taking action and becoming the best version of themselves. Type that down. I also want you to say, what are their biggest challenges? What do they struggle with? If you're doing an MMA podcast, maybe someone is struggling with trying to understand MMA. Maybe someone's struggling with how to become a fighter. But talk about what those struggles are. What you're doing with each one of these questions is you're taking the audience of 1 billion people who listen to podcasts and you're narrowing it down to say 100 million, to 1 million, to 100,000. Finally, we're going to get it down to 1,000 true fans where you can say, Brian, I'm going to talk about MMA with my core value of integrity to 30-year-old athletes in America who want to be fighters in the UFC one day. Bam! There you got 1,000 true fans. And now we can make something that will talk to them. They'll become raving fans. And once they do, you're going to have something that really has traction. So go ahead and type those in there right now. Type in all these answers. It'll start to give you an idea of the type of person that we're talking about. And let me give you a few examples right now. Here is one that I like to give. And you'll see from this graphic, you might say, I want to do a podcast that has fitness advice. Now, that's not a very good way of really specializing it down into your 1,000 true fans. I would rather you do a podcast about fitness advice for vegan runners. That would be even better. So you can probably see from the graphic there what I'm talking about there. The next example is, you can probably see that example there. The next example is that a lot of people are like, okay, my topic might be travel, okay? Now, the problem with travel is it doesn't really tell me your 1,000 true fans. Now, instead, if you just did the exercises I was talking about, you might come back and say, what if I did a podcast about digital nomads in their 20s traveling the world? That is an example of your 1,000 true fans. And of course, my final example is you might have come up with the topic of, I want to broadcast on how to write. But once you did this exercise, you found out that your 1,000 true fans really want to hear about grammar and storytelling techniques for professional editors. And those are 3 perfect examples of narrowing down into your micro niche. And this is crucial, folks. So many times I see people that want to go too big and they take MMA as a topic. They take meditation as a topic. They take comic books as a topic. They take gaming as a topic. They try to be all things to all people. It's the biggest mistake and it's the biggest killer of podcasts. When you narrow it down and speak to those people that want to do story, those digital nomads, those vegan athletes, that's when you can really get traction. And so as a final exercise, I want you to do this right now. Describe your 1,000 fans in 1 sentence. I know it might be hard, but try it. Type it in there, and maybe you say, okay, it's MMA athletes that are 27 that have aspirations of being in the UFC. Or maybe you say it's 40-year-old men in America who love movies from the 80s, right? Or maybe you type in and say it's comic book lovers in their 20s that love Marvel, right? That's what I want you to type in right now, 1 sentence, and it really breaks down your micro niche. Again, 1,000 true fans, that's really what we're talking about. And while you're typing that in, I want to share with you a short bit of my interview with Kevin Kelly. All right, and this is me broadcasting value out to the world. And the beauty of broadcasting is I get to learn. And here is Kevin explaining on London Real this concept of your 1,000 true fans.
Sculptor, photographer, anybody who's creating something, the technology allows us to actually interact with our customers directly. In the past, you'd sell a book, and there'd be a publisher and a bookseller, and someone would buy your book, but you'd have no connection as the author with that person. But now you can sell a book, even if you don't sell them directly. They can have an email. They can contact you on an ongoing basis. And so the premise is simply that if you have that kind of ability to connect with your audience directly, and you don't have all these other people involved with publishers and music studios and everybody, if you're actually creating and dealing directly with them, that the numbers that you need to actually get a living are very small. And I call those people that are going to be most valuable to you true fans, because the true fans are fans that will purchase anything that you produce in all the varieties, all the different editions, all the different venues, whatever it is, anything you do, they're going to support you in it. If you don't need very many of those kinds of people, and by my calculation, for a single creator, you need about 1,000. If you can produce $100 worth of goods a year, then 100 times 1,000 is $100,000. That's a living, okay? And so that's the basic idea. Now, you have to adjust that by lots of different things, because you have expenses you have to subtract. If you have more than one person as a duo, you have to multiply by 2. And the important thing, though, is that number is actually not critical. It's the order of magnitude. It says you don't need 1 million fans to make a living if you have direct contact with them. You don't need even 100,000. You need it in the thousands.
I love Kevin Kelly, and here's a really funny story about him. Before he walked out of my studio, he said, "Brian, do you have any kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I got one." And he said, "Have as many as possible." He said, "I have 6. He said, "Every one is a gift." And 3 months later, Mariana was pregnant with Damon. So I always take his advice. And when he talks about the 1,000 true fans, let me just try to explain it in one slightly different way. If you go out and build your podcast and you think about the millions of people that might be listening to you about the topic, you'll never really be speaking to them and their problems and their challenges. And they'll see you as someone who's just a generalist, and they'll move on to someone else. But if you really think about them and their specific problems, what they go through every day as a single mother who's in the graphic design business, or a senior citizen who wants to retire to Costa Rica, or a computer programmer who wants to get into the gaming industry, if you really break it down to something specific and speak to those people as individuals, as if it's one-on-one, you will build a following. That following will share your ideas, and then you can expand the process. One of my favorite examples is Facebook. Facebook didn't start off speaking to 1 billion people. It started off making the people at Harvard happy to connect with each other. After that, they opened it to Ivy League universities. Again, kept it small. And once it worked there, they opened it up bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what you're going to do with your podcast. Start with a micro niche, your 1,000 true fans. Once you have traction, then you expand it. So I want to go to the boards right here and find out, how are people describing their 1,000 true fans? You know, this is a hard concept for people to adopt. You know what it's like inside the Academy. In both our Broadcast Yourself course and our Business Accelerator, we go into what we call micro niche. Most people resist this, right? Yep. They want to talk to MMA fans because there's 10 million out there. They want to talk to CrossFitters because there's 10 million. But when I get them to micro niche, it's those students that have the most success. As you know, they sell the most products on our webinars, and they have the podcasts that go to New and Noteworthy. They get the big guests on there. So how are people with this concept?
People are really getting it. Kira says, I serve women in their late 20s and late 30s who have been setting their own emotional broken bones and are ready for the concrete tools that will allow them to make peace and meaning from their stories.
Okay, look, I like that. Look, you're talking specifically women for a specific age demo that's really important. You know, they're having some issues and some broken things that they want to repair. I think that's a good 1,000 true fans. I might even break it down a little bit more. I might say these people, maybe they're separated, maybe they're single parents, maybe they're in a geography. I think maybe even break it down a little bit more because you can really speak to those women and the problems they're having. Maybe they're from a socioeconomic background. Maybe they come from this or from that. Maybe they have a specific trauma. Really go one more micro. As I say inside my academy, go micro until it hurts. So just try to narrow it down a little bit more. You'll find that people really think you resonate with them. They'll share your podcast with their fans and you'll grow.
Wayne Eastley says, company directors developing strategy that need to be aware and understand implications of rapid technological change.
Okay, I like that, but what if we did that for people in the automotive industry, for CEOs in the legal field? What if we did that for, some other niche, for people in the internet broadcasting, in America or in Canada? I'm telling you, if you go even, because you could be talking about a lot of CEOs there, that could potentially mean 20% of Fortune 500 companies. If you go more micro, they'll think you're talking to them. When that happens, they'll listen, they'll tune in, and they'll also want to start buying products from you. And I want to talk about that briefly in the next section, because if you go more micro now, if you concentrate on your 1,000 true fans, it's actually easy to turn this into a business. And again, as you know, I say all the time, once you have revenue, you can actually make more impact and help more people. And I'll get into that shortly. What is someone else saying?
Manuel says, music teachers who are looking to find new and creative ways of conveying music to their students.
Okay, I like that. So all of a sudden we're talking about music teachers who are failing. Again, what's their biggest challenge? He answered that really well, Manuel. I like that. I might also pick an instrument just to go a little bit more because, let's be honest, pianists and violinists and cellists, they're all kind of doing their own thing, drummers. I might pick an instrument. Maybe it's one you play or you have experience with, and now these people know you're the guy. And let's be honest, most music teachers are probably a little frustrated with their teaching techniques, so that might be more general than we think. But if you say, learn how to teach the drums in innovative ways, each week I'm going to speak to a guest on my show who is a leading teacher in their field. To students at the top of their game, they're going to tell us how they found the way to get to the top of the game. You're going to be known as the person on the cutting edge of drumming technology when it comes to education. That's money in the bank. That's seriously a podcast that we can turn this into a business, into something that really, really grows. Again, folks, you can see how it went from something that was kind of general to something that every drummer will be sharing on those drum chat rooms. And that's the beauty of the 1,000 True Fans and the micro niche.
Shelley says, women's MMA, evolving a modern generation of female warriors as they strive to achieve greatness and their highest potential in the most exciting sport alive today.
Cool. Look, I love it. I love MMA. Don't get me wrong. I love women's MMA more than anything. I was watching the latest Cyborg fight last night at 11:30 when I should have been sleeping. I had bad dreams of Cyborg KO and that Russian girl. I love women's MMA. It's exploded. But who are you talking to? Are you talking to women who want to become fighters? Are you talking to women who think it's a blood sport and you want to educate them that this is a fascinating new way of empowering women and showing people what the future is? I think you want to go a little bit more niche here. Maybe you want to talk to people who want to start their own MMA events. Again, go a little bit more niched here because I don't know exactly where you're going, and you're going to have something that will find its own market. There's so many MMA shows right now. Make yours different, and you'll have something that will go on fire.
One more?
Yeah, we'll do one more. I love this stuff because you can see these people are actually getting excited about the idea. The truth is, once you go more micro, you'll feel like you can pull the trigger. When it's something really general, you won't feel like you can, but I can see she's getting excited about it. Manuel's getting excited about it. This will make you pull the trigger and broadcast, whereas most people will talk about it.
Daniel says, young Mexicans, 18 to 30 years old, who want to travel for cheap with as little baggage and footprint as possible.
Yeah, cool. Look, I like that you're speaking to Mexicans. That's a beautiful market. Traveling cheap with little baggage as possible. I might even make you go a little more micro. Maybe speak to women or speak to men, or maybe even go 18 to 22. Problem with 18 to 30 is it runs the gamut. High school students, college graduates, people that are making money, that are maybe been in the corporate life for 6 years. They all have different core values. If you can speak to someone who doesn't have any money but is taking an off year in college, then you can recommend places and they'll really resonate with you. So again, this isn't your fault. Most people don't know to go one more level of micro. You're going to have something that will catch fire. And here's the beautiful part. Once you show that it's Mexican high school students that are taking a gap year and want to know where to travel and you make them happy, then you branch out to, guess what? Brazilian students, Guatemalan students, Argentinian students. You still have Spanish as a language, but now you have that demo. And once that happens and you become popular in those countries, then you can open it up to people that are 25 years old, 27 years old. And that's how Facebook was built. That's how a lot of great businesses were built. Cool? All right, good. I want to quickly talk about the concept of a business because most people get into broadcasting for a few reasons. Maybe you want to become famous. Maybe you want to add value to the world. Maybe you want to connect with key people of influence. The truth is when you follow my system, the system we've developed here at London Real, by using your core values, your topics, and then your 1,000 true fans, what you're going to find is that these 1,000 people are going to start saying, well, actually, I'm really challenged when it comes to this. How can you help me? Do you know any solutions? Do you know any good books? Do you know any ways that you can teach me? Can you get on a live call and explain to me what you know about drumming, what you know about traveling, what you know about this? And pretty soon you'll think, wow, I could actually sell them something. And so that's what we teach inside the course, is we teach you how you can take those 1,000 true fans and get them to spend that $60 or $100 with you right away and create that $100,000 that allows you to quit your job, to hire that first member, to hire that graphic designer, to hire that audio mixer, to hire that video producer that can help you scale your message and, more importantly, impact more people. I ran London Real as a one-man show for so long. I'm telling you, revenues change the game. And when you focus on the 1,000 true fans, the business comes like this. I'm telling you, I can show you how to turn those fans into a business super quick. And that's what we teach inside the Broadcast Yourself Accelerator. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you how to do. So it's really important to really understand that concept. And that's what I really want to talk about tonight, because really, it's all about getting into a business as well. So why were you here tonight? Well, you wanted to explore this concept of broadcasting yourself. You wanted to have deep and more meaningful conversations. You know the one I'm talking about, not the one where someone gets interrupted with a mobile phone and says, oh, hold on a second, I got to check my Instagram. I'm talking about locking in with a human being and having a conversation that matters, that changes your life. Maybe you came here tonight because you're tired of your job, tired of working for someone else, tired of not living your passion. Maybe you came here tonight because you want to make an impact on the world. You want to have service, but you're probably here because you want to find your purpose. That is what broadcasting can do. And you're wondering, well, how can I do it? Well, the truth is there's a complicated way to do it and there's a simple way. The complicated way is what I did. I picked up a microphone, I set up my webcams, you saw me back in the day, I had bad facial hair and bad clothes, and I just started talking. And yeah, that can get you a little bit passion, but without a plan, you're gonna become listless. You're gonna find it hard to find the time, you're gonna have it hard to find guests. No one's gonna know why you're doing or what you're doing. And of course, you can find someone to show you what microphone to use and how to get on iTunes, but they're not gonna teach you how to create great content. How to connect with guests, how to actually record conversations that matter, and how to distribute them to a huge audience and then build a revenue stream to take it to the next level. And that is what I'm offering you tonight, because we have opened our annual Broadcast Yourself 8-week online accountability course. Folks, I do this once a year. This is not an option until 2019. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm going to be teaching this on a one-on-one basis then. What I'm offering you is this. 8 weeks, I'm going to teach you how to turn your passion into a world-class podcast, and then I'm going to show you how to turn that into a business. And I'm going to offer you 16 hours of live video calls just like this, but in a way where you can talk to me and I can talk to you. I'm going to give you 8 video modules. I'm going to introduce you to a group of people of 150. These are entrepreneurs and broadcasters from around the world that have invested in themselves and that are going to change the game. And by May 19th, you will have 8 episodes in the can. You'll be on iTunes. You'll have reached out to partners. You will start to build your business, and you will be transforming as a human being. Because I offer 3 things: strategy, community, and accountability. I show you exactly how to do it, the roadmap, all the mistakes I made. I pull back the curtain and show you my secrets on exactly how I book guests. I share you the emails. I give you my show notes, those things I look at in my iPad before I go in and during an interview. I show you how to distribute. I show you how to promote, and then I show you how to connect with partners and make revenues. Next, I offer a community of like-minded people from around the world. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who you hanging out with now? Dan Pena says losers. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but are these people looking for you to take your life to the next level, or do they like you the way you are? Are they saying, yeah, get out of your comfort zone, go ahead and broadcast, because that's what these people do. The people inside the accelerator not only want you to be successful, they expect you to launch a podcast and a business, and that's what I'm offering. And finally is accountability. I'm going to be with you every step of the way, making sure you do the things you don't want to do in order to get a podcast that will change your life. I'll be with you and making sure you do those things. You record the episode, you set up your website, you get on iTunes, you reach out to those people. It's accountability every step of the way. I will get you across that goal line, kicking and screaming if necessary. And so this is the offer I'm putting into the chat right now, and this is really what I'm going to show you. It's 8 weeks. It's personal mentoring from me and my team, and let me tell you what we're going to teach you. Module 1 is start with why. Here, I will show you the 3-step process for combining your interests to find the perfect podcast topic for you. Here, you're going to create a North Star mission statement and uncover the core reasons why you're starting your show so you stay motivated over time. Of course, here you will assemble your mini audience, which is a hand-picked group of listeners who are going to give you direct feedback so you can tweak and hone your show early on. This is special intellectual property we have at London Real. This will make sure your podcast has an audience before you start it. Next is Module 2. I call it Discover Your 1,000 True Fans, much of what we talked about tonight. Here, we're going to cover the London Real Podcast Sprint. This is a concept based off of Google's famous design sprints, where you're going to test your podcast idea to make sure it's going to be a hit before your first episode. I'm going to give you a special roadmap that goes deeper on your 1,000 true fans so you can find your first group of fans as fast as possible. And I'm going to teach you how to be competition proof and get people to see your show as a cut above the other podcasts out there. Next is Module 3, build your cutting edge platform. Here, you're going to discover the perfect microphone and software for you, and you're going to avoid the complex and expensive tools that you don't need. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know when it comes to naming your podcast, including real-life case studies, copyright, and trademark. And lastly, I'm going to give you step-by-step video tutorials on how to use your equipment so you don't need to worry about being a tech person. Folks, it's week 4. Now it's time to book your guests. This is where we go gangster, and I show you how London Real has had the best of the best right here in the studio. I'm going to give you proven email templates for getting well-known influencers to say yes to an interview, including the exact emails I sent to people like Dorian Yates, Tim Ferriss, and Ido Portal. I'm also going to give you the London Real interview preparation template so you can go into your show knowing exactly what to ask and the key topics that resonate with your listeners. And of course, lastly, I'm going to show you the 5 places where you'll find a non-stop stream of inspiring guests for your show all year long. Next is Module 5. Broadcast your very first conversation. Time to get that mic out, press record, because you're going to discover a detailed episode checklist that we use every time before I launch an episode. I'm going to give you 3 instant rapport techniques to get your guests comfortable opening up to you. And finally, I'm going to show you how to go into minimal post-production. I'm going to show you how to edit your episode in 1/10 of the time that the average podcaster takes. I'm telling you, folks, this is when most people quit when they do it on their own. They get scared they can't broadcast. This is when I get them over the hump. And most people quit podcasting because they waste time on post-production. We don't play that here. Next is Module 6. Now you're going to join the top 1%. This is Keys to Interview Mastery. I'm going to give you my exact pre-interview ritual that gets me over my personal anxiety and it gets me in the zone before every interview. Yes, this is what I use every time before I go live here at London Real. Then I'm going to show you how to start, lead, and close a conversation. And finally, I'm going to reveal my top techniques for creating deep connection, including my icebreaker strategy and my 2020 rule. Folks, this is the real game changer. They say that quality is the new SEO. I'm going to teach you why our conversations go viral, and it's because we're doing it in a very, very special way. Next, Module 7 is 10x your audience. And here, I'm going to show you how to give an in-depth, behind-the-scenes breakdown of the exact promotion strategies we use to get over 100 million podcast downloads and over 350,000 YouTube subscribers, and how you can apply them to your show. Then, I'm giving you the London Real podcast marketing blueprint for building a massive audience in just 15 minutes a day, which includes what I call my surround sound strategy. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to land guest appearances on well-known podcasts so other people can promote your message. Folks, this is when I really open up my box and show you all of the tricks and techniques that we've developed over the last 7 years. But it's not over. Finally, it's Module 8. Time to launch your podcast. Here, I'm going to show you how you'll learn how to execute the perfect launch day. Plus, word-for-word templates you can use to generate enormous buzz for your show. Then I'll show you how to deal with haters and critics so they don't faze you. And lastly, I will introduce you to the Podcast Growth Blueprint. Here, you're going to plan out your next 12 months of content, set smart goals, and track your key success metrics so you can scale fast. Folks, this is stuff you cannot buy anywhere else. Nobody broadcasts every single day like we do, who is teaching the deep secrets on how to create quality content. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Again, this won't happen for a year, and I probably will never be so directly involved in teaching you and personally mentoring you. You are one click away from joining me in this amazing adventure, but there's more. I've got bonus number 1, and this can be yours if you pulled the trigger to now, and this is how to turn your podcast into a hit TV show or YouTube show. Here, I'm going to show you the 5 London Real tactics to maximize your YouTube presence. I'm going to show you the tools we use to hack the YouTube SEO. And finally, I'm going to give you the behind-the-scenes techniques on how to make your show go viral. But there's more. I'm giving you free bonus number 2 if you pull the trigger tonight while you're on this masterclass, and that is this: how to transform your podcast into a 6- or 7-figure lifestyle business. Here, I'm going to show you 6 different income streams to profit on your podcast. I'm going to show you how to turn your listeners into leads, which turns them into revenues. And finally, I'm going to give you the podcast business blueprint. I'm telling you, folks, the biggest mistake most beginning podcasters make is they forget to incorporate a business aspect. Think about your favorite podcasts. Think about them. They are all businesses. That's why they exist. And that's why the people still do them every week. This is a crucial component. It's forgot about by most, and no one else teaches it like we do. But of course, there's even more. Tonight only, if you pull the trigger, I'm going to give you the success secrets from broadcast superstars. And this is the fast action bonus I promised earlier. And this is an incredible list of insider secrets from world premiere broadcasters. Whoa! That's the gong that Julian hit, and it looks like some people are pulling the trigger out there and signing up, so welcome to the Facebook group. But again, for this fast action bonus, I'm going to share with you success secrets from my interviews with James Altucher, best-selling author, entrepreneur, and host of Altucher Confidential. I'm going to share with you Andy Zarumba's success secrets. He's the founder and host of Vancouver Real. 100 episodes, folks. That doesn't come from just luck. He's got the grit to do it right. He's going to share that with you. John Gooden, presenter and commentator for the UFC, Mimi Icon, huge YouTube personality, Robert McKee, the most sought-after screenwriter, lecturer in the world and master storyteller, and finally, Simon Sinek, we know him, Start With Why. All of those can be yours tonight if you're willing to pull the trigger. And you know, Julian's put the link up there. We are closing this class out tonight. The truth is, this week, folks, it's been the busiest it's been here at London Real headquarters because this course is so hot. People know it's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn from people that are doing it every day and get the accountability. Where else can people tell you that by May 20th, you're going to have 8 episodes of a world-class podcast and you'll have thousands of raving fans and the start of a business. But there's more, because I'm offering you a community. You are not going to be alone on this journey. You're going to have a group of 150 people from around the world that are motivated, that have put money on the line and put skin in the game and are there to make this happen no matter what happens in their life. We're all going to go through each week at the same time. We're going to have teams. There's going to be competitions. There's going to be Olympics. We leave no man or woman behind. 96% of my students complete this course because we have live calls. We call roll. I make sure you do the work. You're going to meet people in this class that become your friends, your partners, your investors, your collaborators. John McMahon met Michael Sky during this course. Now they have a business that's making them millions of dollars, folks. John told me that he would have paid $10,000 just for the community alone. Let me repeat. He would have paid 10 grand just for the community. And I said, of course you would have, Michael. You just made millions of dollars. You made 100 times that return. It always makes me laugh when people say, Brian, I can't afford it. I'm like, can you afford to make $1 million? These are the kind of opportunities that I'm presenting with you. Inside this community, we have a private Facebook group, but it's not unlike any other. In this group, you upload videos every week. You get peer review and feedback from your ideas and your customers. You get lifetime access to this network of people who you can go on to create businesses that'll be worth millions of dollars, that'll affect millions of people. I'm telling you, they're going to be your friends, your investors, your collaborators. They're really your family. But there's more. I offer accountability. And that's where we do something that's different than anything else out there. Folks, it's 16 hours of live calls. Just like this, I'm talking to you on the phone. We've got this special software where you can talk to me 2 hours every single week. I do the Sunday call from my home where my children sleep. That's how much I care about your success. Next, we've got the accountability document. This thing is infamous. This is where I record every single piece of work. I can see if you've done it, and if you haven't done it, we all come looking for you. It's a way to guarantee you get results. And finally, I give you 24/7 live support. Any question you have about any problems, my team and I get back to you immediately. I offer all that because that is our triple tier accountability. And the timeline is this. We have keynote calls on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We have workshop calls on Sunday night at 7 o'clock London time. These calls are recorded. You can watch them later in the private Facebook group, but I really want you there for maximum impact. The first call is March 20th. The last call is May 13th, and we've got graduation here in London. It's an optional event, May 25th to 27th. Again, you do not need to be in London for this course. It is taught online, and it is better because of it, and that is an incredible, incredible, powerful piece. But don't take my word for it. Here are the testimonials of some of my students.
Whilst I knew that it was kind of on the list of things to do in the given week, there was a message that came out that said, right, you've got 3 hours to do it before a call, otherwise you're in trouble, sort of thing. So yeah, that was just really forced me into it. Big resistance, overcame it, but yeah, I was just like overwhelmed with the really positive response I had from everybody. So really glad I did it, but it was tough.
It was tough, but it was no. That was really the reason why I signed up for it, because I knew that it was going to be held accountable. Because, as I say, I could have put a podcast out myself, but 8 weeks ago, if I had not done this, I would not have a podcast. Even though I know how to do it, I wouldn't have done it.
You get vulnerable. You talk about real things. You have to overcome resistance. You have to take ownership. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned. I myself, I am responsible for everything that happens in my life. And I hadn't had that before. And I think that that's a really, really big step forward. So yeah, probably I'm not, or I see challenges, or I see fear now as a way to grow.
I honestly recommend this. It's been a great experience. Occasionally it was really tough, to be honest, and like I said, I was tired and I got almost a little bit mad about you sending those messages, resistance and extreme owners. Like, oh, is this guy telling me this stuff? But you were right, and I'm glad. Maybe it's because I'm an ex-athlete or a player. Sometimes I need a coach to push me further, so it was good for me. It helped me out a lot your messages, your tough those messages, but they really did help me out.
And the accountability is going to continue, and that's another thing that I love about this. You know, it's not just, right, 2 months, done, see you later. It's like, no. We're going to keep you accountable. You're not just going to do 6, 8 episodes and then let it slide. You know, you're going to keep publishing. You're going to fulfill the vision that you had for this right at the beginning. So that for me is really important.
I love hearing from our students that have been successful. You can see the light in their eyes. You can see how they're excited about broadcasting, excited about life, and the future is all theirs. That's the gong being hit. So someone inside this masterclass decided to pull the trigger and join us on the accelerator course. Anyone I know?
Irene joined us. She's on the business course right now, but she's jumping back in for this one.
Fantastic stuff. Welcome, Irene. Look, you pulled the trigger, which makes you different than so many people out there. A lot of people talk about doing a podcast. They dream about it. They tell their friends one day, but you pulled the trigger. And since you have, and you decided to invest in yourself, I will go with you every step of the way and give you 100% of my time. So thank you for doing that. Again, this will close out tonight. There's a few spots left on this course. So make sure, if you really want to change your life, this is the time to do it. I want to get some of your questions before you have them, but I want to recap exactly what you get on this course. And this is what I'm offering you. 8 video modules of on-demand training, right? Each module has 3 videos where I break down these concepts for you. I'm giving you 2 bonus modules that I've talked about tonight. I'm giving you the super success secrets from broadcast fast action bonus superstars. Whoa, that's another person pulling the trigger. I'm giving you lifetime access to all of the modules and workbooks. I'm giving you 16 hours of live video calls with me and the London Real podcast coaches. I'm giving you access to the private Broadcast Yourself Facebook group. I'm giving you 24/7 email support during the entire course. I'm giving you the Broadcast Yourself graduation ticket in London. It's a 2-day graduation event. It's free for you to come here. And finally, I'm giving you a personal London Real mentor and a mini mastermind group within the course. That's what you get. Let me tell you what you're going to create if you pull the trigger right now. You are going to create an award-winning podcast using the best strategies and techniques from London Real. You're going to connect with high-level influencers in your industry. You're going to impact thousands of lives through your platform. You're going to learn the art of conversation using techniques from the top 1% interviewers, and you're going to build a profitable business around your passion. And you know, a lot of people are saying, Brian, this sounds amazing. I want in. But they're like, what does it cost? And what I really like to talk about is what is the amount you need to invest in your future. Again, John McMahon invested in his future, and now he has millions, and I want to talk about that tonight. But I've also got 2 extra bonuses if you pay in full, and that is, 1, Dan Pena Live at the Ritz. This is 6 hours of Dan Pena on full blast to 30 entrepreneurs that flew around the world, including a billionaire was in the room. This is a $2,000 value. I'm also offering you a live video kickoff call with me personally, yours truly, Brian Rose. Those are 2 of your pay in full bonuses tonight if you decide to pull the trigger right now and make it happen. And so let me explain the total value of all the assets you're getting tonight, and this is it, folks. You get the full Broadcast Yourself course, which I'm going to show you now, with this $2,997. You're going to get bonus number 1, how to turn your podcast into a hit YouTube show for $499. You're getting bonus 2, transform your podcast into a 6- or 7-figure lifestyle business worth $899. You get the fast action bonus worth $497. Dan Pena Live at the Ritz worth $2,000. You get the video kickoff call and 16 hours of live video calls with me, which has a market value of $4,497. 24/7 email support worth $1697. Lifetime access to my courses, workbooks, and Facebook group worth $1497. And of course, the Broadcast Yourself graduation ticket worth $497. All of this can be yours for $2,997. You can pay in full with the link right now. You can join this course. This is a level of investment, folks. When John McMahon pulled the trigger on this, he didn't realize that he would be making not 10 times on his money, not 100 times on his money, but it looks like 3, 500 times on his money. That's a great day in Vegas, folks. And that's the way I want you to think about this. When I got accepted to MIT, they said the price was $14,000. I was 18 years old. I was broke and driving a bad Ford Mustang. But I didn't say, no, I can't afford it. I realized that I would have a huge return on that investment. So I borrowed the money from my parents, from my grandparents, from the government. I made it happen, and it helped me make millions. The choice is yours. But I know that some of you don't have that whole amount in the bank. If you do, you get the pay in full bonuses. So I introduced a payment plan. 12 payments of $297 will get you in the group. You can make one of those payments tonight. I'll have you in the private Facebook group. You'll meet the rest of your class from around the world, and you can download Module 1 right now for $297. And if you're telling me you can't come up with that, I don't believe you. I just think a lot of times people don't do it because they're fearful of success, fearful of failure, fearful of what people will say, but that's the only way you're ever going to do something that's great. And so that is the full payment plan. Of course, I got the premium plan as well, where you can pay $4,997, be part of my personal group, and get your interview here at London Real Studios during graduation weekend. And of course, there's my Inner Circle plan for $9,997, where you get 6 months of private mentoring with me after the course is over, when a lot of people find a reason to quit. These are the different levels of investment. But just to show you how much I believe in what we teach here at London Real, just to show you that I stand behind everything that we do, I'm offering you also, on top of all of this, a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's another person that pulled the trigger, they're changing their life. So it's a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you join my course, you show up to the calls, and you do the work, and if at the end you're not completely 110% fully satisfied, that you were completely blown away by what you learned, you can have your money back. That's how much I believe in this course. That's how much I've seen lives transform. I've seen people create award-winning podcasts, create million-dollar businesses. That's what I'm offering you tonight. So I've removed all of the excuses possible. What's next? You click on the link, you fill out your information, you pull the trigger, put in your credit card details, and immediately you meet this group of 150 people around the world. You upload your introduction video. I give you Module 1. You go into the Facebook group and you get ready to change the world, to change your life, and to change your future. And now I want to answer some questions, anything you have about what's going on here. You know, it's a crazy opportunity that these people have to learn from us. You know, there's so many people that offer these online courses, and it makes me sad. Because people come and they say, Brian, I spent $20,000 online and all I got was a bunch of videos. Unfortunately, a lot of people sell products and they say, watch the videos in your spare time. Do it at your own pace. That is a mistake. I believe you have to demand people to step up to the plate. That's what we do here. 8 weeks, I'm with you every step of the way. This is not to watch at your leisure. This is to watch as a group, and that's what this is all about. What are people saying? What kind of questions are they asking? I'm really curious what they're saying.
Before we get to the questions, Brian, talking about stepping up to the plate,
yes.
There's a gong that needs to be hit, but I can't do this one. You're going to have to do this one.
Really?
Alex Da Silva has gone big. He's in the Inner Circle.
Wow. Alex Da Silva, bam. The best $10,000 you've ever spent of your life. I'm telling you, sir, we're going to go huge on this. Alex gets a bunch of things here. Thank you. That felt awesome. I love that. You guys have all the fun hitting that gong. You know, Alex now has locked in some incredible things. First, he's paid in full, so he's got Dan Pena live at the Ritz. He's got the video kickoff call with me. On top of that, what happens is inside the course, for every 20 students, I give you an extra instructor, a graduate who you have 24/7 access to, who's gone through the course. In the case of the premium, you get me. So now you get me with you all the time, pushing you every step of the way. Now Alex gets his own interview at London Real Studios. This is what you can do with this. First of all, you can take the audio of that and make that one of your episodes. Second of all, you can put that interview on your YouTube channel, and people say, wow, you've been on London Real? Can I be on your show? You can use it as a business asset to sell products to your customers, and you can use it to land guests. This is why the premium product is so popular. I actually don't have that many spaces for it, and Alex, you get that as well. But on top of that, you get 6 months of mentoring me after the course is over. Also, I introduce you to my Inner Circle group of entrepreneurs from around the world that are building 7-figure businesses and huge podcasts. I'm telling you, this group will make you step up your game because these people are doing things you never thought possible. So welcome to the course, Alex. Again, This is going to be probably the cheapest thing you ever bought because the return you're going to get is so many-fold, it's not even funny. Make sure you come to graduation because that's where the magic happens. Again, the whole weekend is free. It's optional. All you have to do is get here. Questions from people?
Plenty of questions here. Quick one for Patrick, who says, what's step one now that we have paid and signed up? Quite simple. Join the private Facebook group that you can see the link to on the screen there. And then check your email. There'll be other instructions on that.
Yeah, look, you've got a link into the private Facebook group. Don't waste time. Upload your introduction video. Start looking at these incredible people from around the world and comment on their videos. This is where the relationships start that we've seen build million-dollar businesses. This is where it's not even about me right now. It's about you connecting with community. You're going to get inspired by these people. These people are going to give you feedback on your idea. They'll probably make you go more micro. I'm telling you, the work starts now, folks. You're going to get module 1 shortly and get ready for this first video kickoff call. We don't like to play around here. It's all about action and accountability. And again, welcome to the family. Like, this is really where your relationship with London Real starts. I'm going to teach you everything I know.
Darren says, do you get those bonuses if you sign up to the $297 monthly payments?
So for the monthly payments, you're going to get the bonuses for tonight, the bonus number 1, the bonus number 2, the fast action bonus. The pay in full bonuses are reserved for the payment plan, for the full pay. But I will say, if you lock in the payment plan now, you actually lock your spot in. You can upgrade to full pay right now anytime you want, and you get the 2 bonuses. With the Dan Pena Live at the Ritz, which is seriously 6 hours of the $50 billion man motivating people, yelling at billionaires to step up their game. I mean, Dan Pena turns people that are worth 10 million into 15 million. Like, seriously, he does not accept mediocrity. He won't accept it from you. You'll get fired up. And you get a video kickoff call with me that happens, I believe, a week from now, and I'll go deeper into your micro niche. Another winner, you know? I love seeing these people that win. I always feel bad for the people that are finding excuses right now. Who is that?
Shelley Devine.
Shelley, great to have you as part of this team. Again, you've just stepped apart from the rest of the group who are thinking about it, who are coming up with excuses. I'm telling you, and you've seen it before, there's 4,000 people in the Broadcast Yourself Workshop group on Facebook, you know? 150 of those people will pull the trigger. 4,000 people are tourists. They watch the world go by. They watch people pull the trigger and take action, and they don't. And they always wonder why they're living this life of mediocrity. I always say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. How can you expect to become world class, to become a high performer, to get $1 million business if you're hanging out with the same people doing the same things? I'm giving you a chance to literally plug into a network of incredible people to get my advice, my expertise, and my energy to get a blueprint, a roadmap, and the accountability to make it happen. I'm telling you, folks, life all comes down to a few moments. This is one of them. This is your chance to pull the trigger. It will be gone shortly. You can lock it in with the payment plan. You can pay to upgrade later and get those bonuses. Hell, you can upgrade to premium later if you want, or join me and Alex Da Silva in the inner circle. That's up to you. But I'm telling you, lock your spot in tonight is what it's all about.
Darren says the only risk in life is to not take one, and he is in.
Welcome, Darren. It's so true. You know, I mean, they have a saying that says if you don't shoot, you always miss. And you know, a lot of you are probably here because you've thought about a podcast for maybe a few months, maybe a year. You've been thinking about being a business owner, but there's always been a reason or an excuse. I hear them all the time. One person gave me an excuse of, I just got a new job. One person gave me an excuse of, I just got fired. It's funny. It's like, you know, there's always, it's always just an excuse. You know, one person says, my grandma died. One person said, I'm expecting a new baby. There's always a reason not to do it, but that's actually a reason to do it. You know, it's, wow. And I'm telling you, people can see the value of this course and they know what's happening. And I love teaching this more than ever. Who's playing with us now?
Tatiana.
Tatiana joined. Thank you so much. You know, Tatiana was a bit of a tourist. I've seen her in this group. And she knows that, look, life all comes down to a few moments. This is one of them. It's actually a quote from my favorite movie, Wall Street. And it shows what Bud Fox was doing. And at some point, you got to take a deep breath and you got to pull the trigger. And I always say, research is procrastination in disguise. I had a Facebook Live today with someone, and he said, Brian, but can you tell me more about this? And can you tell me more about this? I said, look, buddy, at some point, you got to trust your gut and pull the trigger. Do you trust London Real? Yes. Have we been there for 7 years? Yes. Have you seen our successful Academy graduates? Yes. Do you know we will hold you accountable? Yes. Do you know you will tape 8 episodes by May 20th? Yes. Pull the trigger. because the other people here, I guarantee when we check in with them in May, they probably won't have started because we actually sell results. Other questions?
Daniel is saying, do we accept Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, great question, Daniel. We actually do. So if you want Bitcoin, we can go ahead and give you our Bitcoin address and we can send you the QR code. So go ahead and type it in this chat, or what's the best way? Send us some email? Is that
Email,
it?
hello@londonreal.tv.
Send us that email and we'll give you the QR code reader. I've done lots of Bitcoin deals over the years. And again, it's just one less barrier to entry to pull the trigger and change your future. I want to answer a few frequently asked questions, unless you got something that's pressing.
Go for it.
Okay, a lot of people ask me some of the same questions, and I want to just handle those now so you might know. Some people say, Brian, I don't have a podcast idea. You know what? About half of our students have no idea. I start with this exercise tonight. We talk about values, topics, 1,000 true fans, and we get them over the line. To be honest, I like people without ideas, because it's a clean slate and they're not already fixated on one topic or one thing to talk about. So actually we can get better results and I can go more micro. So it's even better if you don't have an idea. I've heard someone say before, I don't have the time. You know, I love this one. I don't have the time. I always say, do you have the time to be successful? Do you have the time to take your idea and turn it into $1 million business? Do you have time to change yourself and the world? Most people that don't have time don't know how to prioritize. I'm asking for 2 to 4 hours a week that will transform your life, that'll connect you to people, that'll help you build a business, that'll help you find out what's important in your life. Does Richard Branson have enough time? Does Elon Musk have enough time? Does Ido Portal have enough time? This is the people that I'm talking about. I'm going to teach you how to transform your life, and of course, you do have time. Some people, another successful winner. Who's that coming in?
That is Raja.
Raja, welcome to the course. Again, I love to see people pulling the trigger. You know, it's funny, I had a question today and someone said, Brian, why don't you give this stuff away for free? And the truth is we gave a ton of stuff away for free in the Broadcast Yourself workshop group. But this is the main reason, besides the fact that we run a business and it helps us deliver more content with you. The main thing we do is the reason why I don't give this away for free is because when it's free, you won't value it. And Raja just paid a price to action, which means he's got skin in the game. Which means in week 2, when I ask him to do something hard, he's not going to disappear on me. He's going to say, well, I paid for this course and I'm going to step up my game. And that's when people transform. And that's when they create great value and build beautiful things. So that's the reason I'm asking you to step it up, pay price to action, put something on the line you care about, because then we're in this together. And that's how I get the best results out of my students. That's why I don't do things when people are getting stuff for free, because they just don't invest in me or in the community. So is it worth the investment? Well, again, ask John McMahon. You know, he spent, I think, $5,000. I think he was premium. He actually might have been inner circle. He got 100 times, 300 times return on investment. Who knows? His business might be worth $10 or $30 million in the future. He's the first one to say without London Real, it wouldn't have happened, because we gave him the peer group, the accountability. I pushed him to the limit. The truth is, folks, this stuff requires hard work, and that's good, because it keeps all the suckers out there from starting podcasts, and it'll give you a beautiful micro niche that you can own. Another question I get is, Brian, why would anyone want to listen to me? You know, and I hear this. That's a confidence issue. The truth is all we need is 1,000 people to listen to you. They could be located in places all around the world. One could be in Kentucky, one in Indiana, one in India, one in Hong Kong, one in Australia. We just have to get the 1,000 people that like your vibe, that are like you, and that feel your energy. Trust me, I will teach you how to speak with authority, with confidence. I'll give you the pre-warm-up ritual. Trust me, you're going to be a broadcasting fool when I'm done with you. And I've done this to hundreds of students, and I'll do it with you. And finally, some people say, Brian, I don't live in London. And I'm saying, no, that's true. That's not true. You don't pay attention. You don't have to be in London for this course. As a matter of fact, I don't want you in London. I want you somewhere else around the world so you can bring in your diverse experience to this group. I want you to bring global partnerships and businesses into this podcasting and broadcasting group. So it's better actually if you're not in London. The graduation is optional, May 25th to 27th. That's when you'll see all the interviews of all the success stories in this room. And here are a few other video testimonials from successful graduates of our Broadcast Yourself Accelerator.
It's hard to explain. So how can you build a virtual family and try to fit in? It was amazing. The first live call, and I saw all these people. It was so inspiring to think, okay, there's people around the world that want to do exactly the same thing as me. And we're going to be learning this together. We're in this together.
I just saw a lot of people in the course had the same issues. So it was just like, you could see, he's also telling about this, and he is having resistance too, and he pushed through it too, and why shouldn't I be able to do this?
70 people around the world.
That was phenomenal, because from literally strangers to within a couple of weeks, it was 60 plus 70 people, and it became like a little family. It was a support network straight away, and I loved being able to connect with people all over the world. They were championing your work from day one.
I have experienced this before in my lifetime. I have been in the corporate world. I have also known what a magic team is like. And the fantastic thing when you get to that point where everybody's helping each other, everybody's holding each other accountable, is that you can do so much more than you ever thought. The result of the work is fantastic.
It was just so warm. Right at the beginning, it felt like people are really, even though they had their own issues and struggling with maybe the tasks, but everyone, it felt like are really ready to help each other. So it kind of felt pretty much right away as a sort of a family and very close sort of, family is the right word, I think.
The program is interesting because it's this nice mix of digital products that you can go back to anytime, but then there's the element of the live calls and the Facebook messaging and the community, now real life interaction. So it's this really multi-dimensional experience, and it's frankly, it's just delightful.
You know, I love watching these video testimonials because each one of these students at one point was you. They all had a reason not to join. They didn't have enough time, their family made them too busy, they couldn't afford it. And yet, at the very last minute, they pulled the trigger. And you can see how it transformed their lives. And I would argue there's not many opportunities out there to transform your life this much. And I'm offering you a chance to be mentored by the best here and to connect with thousands and maybe millions of people. This is the one decision in your life that could scale everything, more so than your choice of job or personal trainer or boyfriend or girlfriend. This is the thing that can literally transform your life. I know this because I lived it. But you have to make the decision now. You have to pull the trigger and make it happen. Don't research this to death. High performance people make decisions based on imperfect information. Go with your intuition. If you feel like this can make it happen, do it. I know you can find the resources to make it happen, and I know we can give you something that will be worth a lot of money and that will change your life. And so I want to answer the last few questions here as we wrap things up. What else are people asking? I'm always curious why people are here at this point, and after everything they've seen and seen all the transformation stories, they're obviously passionate about broadcasting, why they don't pull the trigger, you know?
Ken is asking, is there a problem to podcast in a non-English language?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually have about 15% of my students on every course that have the potential to broadcast in 2 languages. Funny enough, the Finnish stunt, like the stunt master I talked about earlier, we talked about doing his podcast in Finnish, which is the national language of Finland, and English. And we ultimately decided to go English because we thought it would open up the audience more. Mm-hmm. On the same point, I've had a French student that we decided it was better to go in French first because it was such a big population, and the French are very specific about being spoken to in their language. So we do it on a case-by-case basis. Again, micro niche first, 1,000 true fans, but we also want a broad audience, so it's a great question.
Shunya is asking, how many participants on the course and what's the inner circle?
Great, so we have 150 participants on the course. To be honest, I limit it to that because, as I said, I give you a team leader for every 20 students. As if I'm not enough, all the video modules, all the workbooks, my personal mentoring, I give you another person who has graduated from the course and built an award-winning podcast to give you even more advice. Actually, on top of that, I also give you a community manager, another touch point to help you get through the course. And a lot of times we even have a second community manager. But the truth is, I only have a certain number of qualified team leaders. I think right now I've got 6 or 7 plus me, so I'm limited and we cut it off there. And honestly, we're about quality, not quantity, so that's what it is. And the inner circle, again, First of all, you're part of my group as a premium, so I'm your team leader. You get your own London Reel episode here in the studio. I have people contact me, want to pay me $20,000 to buy their way onto London Reel. I say no. But you can, by becoming part of the premium member in my team, you can actually sit here, smell the leather, sit in the same chair as the $50 billion man, the same chair as Dorian Yates and Ido Portal. I'm telling you, once in a lifetime opportunity, and you can become part of my inner circle for 6 months after the course. Very, very special opportunity indeed.
Kira is going to be on her way on a medical volunteer trip. Sounds like she'll have limited internet while she's out there. She's saying, will I be able to catch up on some of the live calls in the first couple of weeks?
So Kira, I had someone that went to climb a mountain in Russia for 10 days. I had someone who was traveling all around the world for half the course. The truth is this. Most places have internet access these days. If you can't make the live call, it's recorded in the Facebook group. You have lifetime access to all of the modules and the group. So you can do this whenever you want. I would prefer that you're at these live calls live because I talk to you and I ask you, I'm like, what about this? I listened to your podcast. I didn't like the way you said this. Do this next time. But don't let this be an excuse to miss the once in a lifetime opportunity. First of all, if you can find a web somewhere, you can find access in most places. If you have to miss one call or two or a week or two, no problem. You can make that up later. So yeah, there's always a reason. Don't let that be the resistance to keep you from this once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm telling you, you're going to be amazed at what you can do here. Who's this person?
Patrick.
Okay, that wasn't her, was it? Okay. No. Patrick joined us. Look, and Patrick just realized that, wait a second, Brian, this is something special that we have here. I'm telling you, Patrick, the funny thing is that when our students join the Facebook group, a lot of them say, Brian, I feel like I've already transformed. Because they come into this group with so much energy and so much positivity. They're like, I can feel this change in me. And it's a little scare and a little anxious and a little joy, and it's all these things. It's like when something big is about to happen, like before you're gonna get married, or before you're gonna have a baby, before you go to uni, before you have a job. It's one of those special moments in life you can cherish. I'm telling you, our graduates, they say those wonderful things about ourselves because we have something that's truly special. We have a tribe. It's a family of people. We connect even though we've never met each other. And at graduation, I'm telling you, people are hugging each other. People are building businesses together because they've developed that level of trust. They trust London Reel, they trust the process, and they do great things.
Talking about trust, Serafina, who was earlier asking how much this costs, she's saying, I'm worried this is not for real. But as Daniel says, this is London Reel. How much more real can he get?
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, I don't know what that means, not for real. I mean, the truth is we've graduated over 500 students on our accelerators. If you type London Reel testimonial, you'll see people from our Business Accelerator, our Life Accelerator, our Speak to Inspire course, and of course our Broadcast Yourself Accelerator. You can look up John McMahon on the internet. You can look up all these people and hear their story. The truth is we have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if something's weird, you have your money back, and the payment plan gets you in. So at some point, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, maybe you're telling yourself a story. And that's the problem. A lot of us live in fear and we don't know that our lizard brain is just keeping you in this tiny little safe bubble. Don't let yourself be kept in there. Sometimes you gotta break out. You gotta take a deep breath and you gotta be like, you know what? I'm tired of being mediocre. I'm tired of living a life where I suck. I'm tired of working for someone that I hate. And if I keep doing these same things, I'm gonna go to the grave. And the truth is you'll be more depressed next year. You'll be more miserable. You'll be more broke. Now is the time to take action. Look at these people in here. These are real people taking action. Pulling the trigger here. Who's that?
Darren.
Darren pulling the trigger. I mean, these are people that are actually doing it. You're going to join them in the Facebook group. You'll see them. You've seen 4,000 people in the Broadcast Yourself Facebook group doing the events and broadcasting. So like, this is real. I'm real. You see our shows. It's all very real. The truth is that a lot of people, they just live in fear. And fear is exactly that, false expectations appearing real. There are phantoms that have caused you to live your life in scarcity, to live scared, to not go after that big job, to not leave home, to not go for that university thing, to not start your own business, to not put yourself out there on a podcast. And I know it's scary. I was terrified when I did my first episode of London Reel. I don't know if I ever told you, but I was worried that all of the bankers I used to work with would say, look at Brian. Look at him. He's on YouTube. What does he think he is? How sad is that? He used to be a big dog in the city, and look at him now. I was scared that when I talked about ayahuasca, that the Bank of England would never let me work again in the city. But I had to take those risks to get to the next level. which is to have this amazing, wonderful movement, to be able to connect with you and teach you and transform you. I had to pay that price by taking a chance, and I trusted the process. I had mentors, but if I had had something like this, I could have done it faster. If I had had this course back then, I would have paid Inner Circle times 5. I would have moved into London Real. I would have worked for free. I would have been my personal assistant. I'm telling you, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can save you all of the problems that I went through. I can show you how to turn it into a business. Who's that?
It's about to get very real for Tom. He's joined the premium tier, so he'll be on your team.
Awesome, Tom. Look, you're on my team now, which means we're going to do a personal one-on-one video kickoff call. You're going to get my personal email address and my personal Facebook. Try not to message me after midnight. And look, we're going to be part of this premium group, but the best part is you're going to be here at London Real Studios on May 26th. I'm going to stream you live, and guess what we're going to do, Thomas? I'm going to stream you live into the Broadcast Yourself workshop group. And all the tourists here that are wondering if this is real are going to see Thomas's transformation. And he's going to be like, Brian, I can't believe I'm on iTunes. I can't believe I reached out to someone I never thought would talk to me and they agreed to be on my show. I can't believe someone actually wants to pay me money for a product I haven't started yet. And I can't believe that I'm going to use this interview now on my website and I'm going to use it to land even bigger guests. Who's that?
Ken.
Ken's stepping up too. Should go premium, Ken. And so I'm telling you, the interview in the studio is the best kept secret. Honestly, for $2,000, people are willing to pay 10 times that. But now you've got a digital asset that you have for the rest of your life. Even the picture of me here in London Real Studios, people be like, what? You're on London Real? What? Did you meet Dorian Yates? It's just a huge boost in ego. But what I was saying is I'm going to stream the interview back into this group, and all the people in the workshop that didn't pull the trigger, first of all, they're going to say, well, I'm going to do it on my own. And then they'll realize 2 months goes by like that. And all of a sudden they're going to say, wait a second, I actually didn't take action. I meant to put it on iTunes, but I got stuck in the technology. I was going to buy that microphone, but I never got to the store. I was going to reach out to that guest, but I didn't want them to say no. I was going to do the interview, but I got anxious beforehand. I didn't know what questions to ask. I've got a module for every single part, right? And I'm there to help you. When you don't do it, I'm going to call you out on the live call and say, Thomas, how come, where's my episode? No excuses. I had a guy in my last course that said, Brian, I got to stop the course because my grandmother died. Remember him? He was on the Speak to Inspire course. And I said, look, my condolences. And she was really special to him because he had talked about it before. And after I said my condolences, I said, do you think your grandma would want you to be a quitter? And he's like, what do you say? What did you say? I said, do you think she'd want you to punk out and quit broadcasting your dreams and quit helping the rest of the world and quit doing the thing that wants to make you more human? I said, no. We're not going to do this. You're going to get back in there and you're going to finish this assignment and we're going to make your grandmother proud wherever she is. And he came back 24 hours later and he said, you're right. And I streamed that interview live on London Real. He talked about this whole issue. I will not accept your excuses until you are great, until you are world class, until you have a business and thousands of listeners. That's my promise to you. That's as real as it gets, folks. So Thomas is going to be streamed, and I'm going to stream his interview back into the workshop group. I know it's going to kill you guys. You guys will be like, Brian, why are you showing me this? This is going to make me feel bad. But I really need to do it because I want to let everyone know that they didn't pull the trigger and they needed to do it. So that's what I'm going to have to do. Other questions?
Seraphina's right on the edge. She says, my husband's going to kill me. But as Robert says, let go of fear, doubt, and focus on your goal, Seraphina. You can do it.
Robert is my man, telling you what to do. Look, the truth is that sometimes you got to pull the trigger, right? And I believe that once your husband sees you transform in those first 2 or 3 weeks, he's like, wow, honey, I've never seen you this excited. I've never seen you doing something for you for a change. A lot of times we forget to do things for ourselves. And by doing that, everyone recognizes, what did you do? Did you change your hair? Did you lose weight? Did you do this? Because you're going to have all this energy. And you're like, wow, I connected with this person. I broadcasted. I've got a fan. I'm telling you, it's the greatest gift you can give your partner. And if you do this right, I can show you how to turn it into a business as well. So pull the trigger. We're here right now. I'm telling you, when this call is over, the bonuses go away. And when this course is full, it's done. I bumped into someone on the street the other day and they said, Brian, I almost took your Broadcast Yourself course last year, but I didn't do it in time. And I came back to you on Friday afternoon and I said, no, we're closed. They're like, Brian, please make exception. I said, no. And they're like, you know what happened, Brian? I never did my show and I actually got more bummed out and now I don't even want to do a show and I'm just going to do my job. And I was like, dude, you got to take the action. So don't be that guy. Pull the trigger. Do the payment plan. Again, you can have your money back if it's not good. Do it. Trust me, your husband will appreciate you for pulling the trigger.
Couple more great questions
go
here.
more.
Akash, he's got some difficulty with the payment here. So he says, can I enroll at a later date once he gets that sorted?
So look, Akash, if you've tried to make the payment, we can see that you tried to make the payment. First of all, that will lock in your bonuses tonight. Tomorrow we can speak to your bank and try to get that going. But look, the time to do the course is now. So we're going to need payment to get this course started. But if you try to make payment, that goes for anyone here, and it fails, it means I will hold the bonuses for you and I will hold your space until tomorrow when we can figure this out. All right, so we can.
Resh is asking, is it possible to enroll as a couple? And Alijor was saying, can we come as a group or a company?
Yeah, okay, great question. The truth is no. When I find when a couple shows up is that I need one person that's accountable. So if you want your wife to listen to the calls or your husband or your partner, that's great, but one person has to be accountable. Otherwise, it doesn't work. I tried this in the past, trust me. I want as many people as possible to change their life in broadcast. But the problem is I was like, all right, who's responsible for my video, for my vlogs, for my iTunes account, for my first episode, for my second episode? And everyone's like, him, her. And I'm like, no. So it has to be one person. And the same with groups. I find that it just gets diluted in the knowledge. So last time we did this, a couple decided to buy their own separate ones, right? Mary Alexandra and her boyfriend who were in Hawaii. And they both bought separate ones because they saw the value of the accelerator. They came to graduation. What happened on the graduation night? He proposed to her. We had our first London Real Academy marriage. This is what happens, folks. It's very hard to explain what's going to happen to you in this course. You're going to get close to these people. You're going to build connections because you're all sweating and bleeding and almost dying in the trenches to create something beautiful. That's why people make million-dollar businesses, because they can trust these people. I'm telling you, it's like a SEAL unit. We're going through hard times, good times, great times, celebrations. That's why I highly encourage you to come to London, get a big Airbnb with 10 people. On our last graduation, they were cooking together. They were staying up till 3 in the morning, brainstorming ideas. This is where the good stuff happens, right? Yeah, sure, it's great to meet Brian Rose. It's great to see London Real Studios. But come for the network. You've got this for life. And that's why you should join. Pull the trigger. Who was thinking about pulling the trigger? Serafina?
Serafina, yep.
Pull the trigger. I'm waiting for you to do this. I'm watching you right now. I know you got that card. I know you got that PayPal. Again, at $397, which is like 200 pounds, if you're telling me you can't come up with that, I don't believe you. If you really had to, you could, which means you have some other minor form of fear or resistance or self-doubt holding you back. I won't accept that. I will get you across to the next level. Pull the trigger, as Dan Pena would say, and we will be there for you.
A few resistance questions here.
I love resistance questions.
We have G saying, do you need a team that can help you set up the physical studio? Robert is asking, how do you get great speakers without paying them? And who was the other one? G is also saying, do we actually pay our guests to come on the podcast?
Okay, great question. First question, do I need someone to set up a studio? So the biggest source of resistance when people go to launch a show is that they focus on the tech. And what does that do when they focus on the tech? It means they don't have to focus on their own personal insecurities and fears and resistances. So they start talking about microphones and video cameras and all this nonsense. And that's what it is, folks. It really is nonsense. I can record a podcast right now with my phone. Guess what? It's got a great speaker right here. I can put it here and say, my guest today is Julian Bales, head of strategy, former bigwig in the YouTube space, joined London Real, turned it into a multi-million-dollar company. Julian, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Brian.
I'm telling you, folks, we could do one right now, and in 5 minutes, we can upload it to iTunes. You're done. Why do you need a studio? That's you playing small. Unlike that person.
Kira's not playing small.
Kira's not playing small. She pulled the trigger. That's an excuse. And the thing is, you'll walk around this in your head, and it's not because you're weak. It's not because you don't know that. It's not because you're a low performer and you need to hang out with a great peer group. It's a human thing. You walk around the whole time saying, yeah, but if I can get that studio, then I can start my podcast. And then a month goes by and a year goes by. When in fact, that's your own way of protecting yourself from what you deem as fear in your subconscious, because you think people are going to laugh at you and you're going to fail and all that stuff. At London Real, we go into the fear, and that's where the fun is. We get out of the comfort zone, and that's where the joy is and the excitement. So we won't accept that BS. You don't need a studio. Honestly, here's a secret. You don't even need a microphone. We just did it on this. You can do your first one on your laptop if you want. Sure, I'll show you the right microphone to use, but we don't let technology get in the way. That's the big thing here. Who's that? Serafina?
Yep.
Serafina stepped up.
She says, holy guacamole, I just signed up. Oh my God.
Holy guacamole, I love it. Sarah, it's awesome to have you. I'm telling you, you're going to transform your life. I'm going to make you some guacamole when you come to London Real Studios for graduation. I make a mean guacamole, by the way. So what was I saying? You don't need a studio. You don't need cameras. You don't need a fancy microphone. All you need is the will to get through the resistance. And when I talk about resistance, folks, this is anything that keeps us from our goal. And you think it could be your husband or your mother-in-law or your Facebook friends or Donald Trump or the snow and the nor'easter in New York City right now. That's all resistance. The real resistance is inside of you. We push through that and we get to victory. And that clears all the suckers out, because everybody in the tourists in the Facebook group, they're going to let all these things stop them. But once you join the course, I promise you, we're going to get through that together. So you don't need a studio. Do you have to pay guests? All right, 7 years, London Real, 500 guests. Have we ever paid a guest?
Nope.
This is what we spend on guests, a big donut. And guess why? When you pay guests, first of all, I never had the money because we start everything from scratch. You're not going to spend any money getting this set up. I think you're going to spend $10 on this course getting you set up. I don't believe in spending money until we show that there's proof of concept. When you get your 1,000 true fans, then we invest the money back into graphic designer, editor, guest booker. I don't spend money until I prove concepts here. Who's that?
Sasha.
Sasha stepping up. Go, Sasha. I love it. So we don't spend money. We don't screw around with that. We prove concept first. So I never paid guests. And guess what happened when I didn't pay guests? I got genuine people who love London Real, who loved our, wait for it, core values, right? They believe in our mission because we sketched out the mission, right? They believed in our micro niche because I spoke to a small group of fans that the guest knew would maybe buy their book, would maybe follow them. They could tell we were serious and we had a plan and a roadmap, exactly like you will. They will come for free. Don't trust anybody who wants a fee. I don't trust it. I don't do it. You get bad energy and you don't need it. Again, a huge misconception that most people find, or is it an excuse for you not to pull the trigger? You know? And I'm telling you, they say that it's so easy to be fooled in this world. And yet, guess who's the easiest person to fool? Yourself. Your subconscious brain plays tricks on you all the time. I'm not good looking enough to be on camera. I'm not confident enough to hold a podcast. English is my second language. I get this one all the time. My accent is bad. Bullshit. Arnold Schwarzenegger, did his accent stop him? Ariana Huffington, did her accent? No. They use their accent as their calling card. Folks, these are excuses your subconscious says in order to keep you safe and keep you in your comfort zone. I don't understand technology. I can't figure out iTunes. I don't know what to talk about. I solve all those problems for you. I'm telling you, once you get the podcast bug, you're going to be podcasting the rest of your life. I used to have a motto at London Real Studios: can't stop, won't stop. I wouldn't care if you watched. I wouldn't care if there was Academy. I'm sure I would find some way to keep broadcasting because it's so much damn fun. This is what I want to show you. The big thing is you're going to transform as a person. More so than any Tony Robbins course, than any weight loss course, than any affirmations course. By broadcasting, you become more human. You give service to others. And I'm telling you, Serafina, your husband and your friends and family are going to say something's different about you. I haven't seen you this excited about life in a long time. I haven't seen you this positive. What did you do different? And you're going to look at them with a small smile on your face and you're going to say, I'm broadcasting. And then they're going to understand it. So, any other questions I can answer?
Yes, we have Ryan saying, can we save a spot until 5 p.m. New York time tomorrow?
I don't know, Ryan. I mean, I don't know. Really? Do you think we should, Ryan? What do you think, Julian?
I don't know if we're going to be able to, right?
I mean, look, the truth is that we're probably going to sell out on this thing tonight. We have a certain number of team leaders and a certain group of people that we're trying to stay from this course. So I don't know. I guess maybe. The thing that you really should do is lock your space in with a payment plan tonight. It's $297. Mm-hmm. It's a credit card. It's your friend's credit card. It's PayPal. That will hold your spot. If you want to upgrade to pay in full tomorrow, who's that?
Thomas.
Thomas stepped up. Welcome to the club, all right? Welcome to the family, more is what I'm saying. If you want to step up tomorrow, pay premium, get Dan Pena live at the Ritz. That's a $2,000 value. I'm telling you, this event will blow you away. Yes, there was a billionaire. See if you can guess who the billionaire is. He's the one that talks the most. Secondly, what am I going to say? You get the kickoff call with me. You also save $567 when you pay in full because we knock off 2 of those payments at the end. It's only 10 payments of $297 at once. So you can upgrade, but lock your spot in now. That goes for anyone listening right now. Again, you got the 60-day money-back guarantee at the end if you're not happy. I'm telling you, there's no reason not to try this out. If you spent the last 2 hours with me, it means you want to broadcast, right? It means you want to change the world. Why not get 8 weeks of tuition from, dare I say, the best in the business, right? We do this every day of the week we broadcast. You see us, right? We're willing to teach you. I've got the roadmap. I'm going to show you how to turn it into a business. I'm going to show you about the 1,000 True Fans. I'm going to give you a peer group. Are you kidding me? Pull the trigger and take a chance. There's really no reason not to.
Couple more great questions here. I want to get to Sharon. She's been very patient with us. She says, please talk about whether age makes a difference. No one has mentioned this. Are there any barriers to someone herself? I think earlier she said she is 61 years young.
Okay. How old are you, Sharon? Go ahead and type in the chat if you're still there. 61, that's young. You know, I'm turning 47 soon. So look, age is a factor. First of all, when Sharon asked that, I wasn't sure if she was 15 or 95 because that question might be, are you too young to podcast or too old? The truth is we've had a 17-year-old student, and I have Bob Hand right now who's 85 years old in my broadcast, in my business accelerator. He's a retired American in Brazil, and he's building a business around teaching retired people how not to be bored in their retirement and how to find things to do and build businesses so they can actually live longer. Because as we know, boredom is one of the key reasons that a lot of people say people die. So first of all, any age range works for our accelerators. The truth is this, Sharon, is what you might consider a weakness is actually your perfect micro niche. It's your perfect 1,000 True Fans. Why not speak to people in their 60s with similar problems as you? Let's talk about you. Do you want to listen to a podcast of some 19-year-old person with like funny colored hair? Do you want to listen to a podcast of like 40-year-old guys talking about MMA? No, you might want to listen to a podcast of 60-something women who are retired, almost retiring. Their kids have gone to college already. Maybe they're relocating to Costa Rica. Maybe they're facing different challenges in their life. You want to hear from those people. So why not broadcast a message that people like that can hear? Again, your 1,000 True Fans. The beauty of the internet is you can contact everyone on iTunes and YouTube. And you can speak to that French woman who's 63 in Marseille who wants to hear from Sharon in America, I'm assuming here, and what the struggles you are and how you are the same. So this is actually your greatest resource is your age. I think it would be even better if you were older because you might have even more of a micro niche. Bob Hand in my group has a perfect thing. He's in his 80s. 80-year-old people want to hear from 80-year-olds. They don't want to hear from 60-year-olds or even from me, 46-year-olds. So I think it's a perfect thing. Sharon, join us. I would love to build this podcast. Don't let this be an excuse. All these things are excuses. I'm too old. I'm too young. Dan Payne always makes this joke at the castle. He says, people say I'm too old. I'm too young. My breasts are too big. My breasts are too small. Like everyone has an excuse of why they can't do something. It's all it is. It's just an excuse.
Reminds me actually of a channel in the early days of YouTube called Geriatric 1927. This guy was, I believe, nearly 80 years old, and he put his first video up in 2006. That's before you.
Yeah, no, that's true. And he was hugely popular.
Tens of thousands of subscribers, and his core demo was not his age group, it was the young people on YouTube. 80%, I believe, of his audience were under 20.
Yeah, that was a big micro niche, and a lot of people watched him. I still remember him uploading videos, and I was like, who is this old dude? And he talked about things that really fascinated the younger audience, right?
Yep.
So look, the thing is there's micro niches everywhere. If you dig a little deeper, Sharon, and start doing the searches, and again, module 2 and 3, I show you, we break down all the competitive analysis. We dive deep into Amazon, into YouTube, into iTunes. We look at everyone out there, and you see what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and we build your perfect niche. So once we do that, you'll see that there's actually lots of shows like this speaking to an audience. You just haven't heard of them, but you can create it. Once I show you how to master social media, how to master broadcasting, I'll show you how to find those people. So what's it going to be, Sharon? Life all comes down to a few moments. Are you going to join us? Join us.
Have you got time for 2 quick questions?
2 quick questions, and then I got a motor here. I got to get home to my 2 kids.
Okay, Mikey is saying, I'm flying into London tomorrow. Can I come over and give cash?
Give cash? Mikey, what are you, a drug dealer? Jesus Christ. No, I don't accept cash, Mikey, but you can give me Bitcoin. So go to some cash dispenser and give me Bitcoin. The truth is we are so busy here at London Real Studios, it's not even funny. I got a live show tomorrow. We're closing the class out tonight. We got to process everyone tomorrow and get everybody in the Facebook group. So probably not, but if you're paying premium or inner circle, I might film that. If you can bring the stacks of like $100 bills, and maybe we'll do that. But honestly, I prefer a non-cash medium, but it's a great question, Mike. Are you a drug dealer? Okay.
Resh is asking a couple questions. Says, Brian and Jules,
Okay.
can we do a quick, brief summary of what we get for the $297 payment plan? He's also saying his life is super busy. If he falls behind at any point in the 8 weeks, does he get his money back? No problem.
Cool. So great question. Look, for $297, you basically get the whole course, right? Everyone gets the whole course, which is 8 modules. Each module has 3 videos that you can watch on demand on our platform. It's got a workbook, so you can really get through a lot of the ideas, like the workbook you saw tonight. You get access to the private Facebook community, which is a special place where we upload videos. We talk about our struggles, our successes. It's very, very special. You get connected with this alumni group that you're going to have the rest of your life. You get lifetime access to both of these things, the group and that. You get the 16 hours of live video calls with me on this special software called Zoom. I think I might even show it tonight if I've got time before I got to go. It's this interactive video software where we can talk to each other. You get your own team leader, and you get your own private video call with your team leader as well. You get a team of people to help you along the way. You get a free ticket to graduation. I mean, seriously, you get a lot of value here. And you get this chance of basically getting 8 episodes on iTunes. And I teach you how to do a business. I give you the bonuses of how to make it into a YouTube show, how to turn it into a business. I give you the facts section bonus if you pull the trigger tonight, which is the success secrets of 6 of my broadcasters. It's a ton of value. So lock it in. Seriously, right now, lock that in. As far as the pay in full bonuses, you get 6 hours of Dan Payne at the Ritz, which is one of the swankiest hotels in London. Again, billionaires in the house. He blasts. It's something that people love. Who's that?
Patrick.
Patrick. All right, I'm still waiting on Sarah.
Sharon,
and on this guy as well. So again, 6 hours of video. Once you see this, you're going to come fired up in this group. You're going to be like, Brian, I want to do 20 episodes. You'll be like, let's do it. It's seriously, it's good. And you get the video kickoff call with me. You also save $567 if you pay in full. For anybody on a payment plan, you pay in full, you actually save money. So that's the trade-offs between the two things. Of course, there's premium and inner circle. And for the money-back guarantee, all I ask for you to do is show up to the calls and do the work. If you do that, and for any reason you're not 100% satisfied, you can have your money back. Again, if you miss a call or two, or you have to take a pause, all of those are recorded. You can watch them in the Facebook group. You have access for life. So honestly, any excuse now is a sign that you're lying to yourself, that you're trying to keep yourself from greatness. So squash that little bastard demon and pull the trigger. Seriously, pull the card out, type the numbers in, and get over that hump. And join us. Seriously, just make it happen. That's what we're looking for. Is that it?
Well, there's a couple more there, but I know you got to get back to Mariana, right?
Yeah, all right. So look, I think that we should talk to these people about a few things, and maybe we can get people on the Zoom software. Let's just see, all right? So look, folks, I just want to close on a couple final thoughts right now, and it really comes down to this. The truth is right now, if you're listening to me, then you're one of the few people that spent the last 2 hours with me, right? Even over 2 hours. You've been listening to me, which probably means you've been following London Real for months, dare I say perhaps years. You probably know more about me than I know about you. You probably know about my story as a journey from banker to broadcaster, how I almost gave up on this thing because I had no roadmap, no core values, no business. But I found a way, and you saw me transform the way I dress. I hang out with the most high-performance people in the world now. I do movies with them. I built this amazing team of people around you. You can't see all of the video team that are making this happen. The head of product, Mr. Ziri, Mr. Bales. You know, we've managed to do this whole thing. We've managed to transform the lives of 500 people like you that have pulled the trigger. And you're watching me now because you probably know that this is something you really need in your life. You spent 2 hours with me, and yet for some reason you're still on the fence. And all I can say is this, is that from here, if you don't take action, it's just going to get worse. You're going to become more detached, you're going to become more miserable and more depressed. It's very hard not to be cynical in this world. I'm offering you this kind of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, this split-second chance where you can pull the trigger. Trust me, a year from now and 2 years from now, you won't remember the money. You'll remember missing that chance to go on this crazy journey with London Real and with me, to get to know me, to become part of the family, to connect with real humans that are positive, making a difference, pumping value into the world. I'm telling you, life all comes down to a few forks in the road, right, that can change who you are. They say the definition of hell is meeting the person the day you die that you could have been. Imagine meeting the person you could have been. Imagine meeting the person that has 1 billion views on YouTube, that wrote 5 New York Times bestselling books, that made movies, that ran for public office, that started companies, all because of a decision they made right now. That's what I'm offering to you. A decision like this scales. It's not like a decision to go to the gym or to eat this or that or get married. I'm talking about a decision that can 1,000x your life. And this is the opportunity. You're one... Who's that?
Smiljan.
Smiljan, you pull the trigger. You're one click away. Seriously, there's a piece of plastic in your wallet, and you can transfer some units of goodwill over to us, and we'll go all in. Now's the time to pull the trigger. Make it happen. I'm closing this thing out now. I would love to be on this journey with you. I'd love to personally mentor you. Come on in the inside. Come and see this beautiful thing we created. If you like this, if you like the Broadcast Yourself workshop group, wait till you're around a bunch of people that pulled the trigger like these gong ringers here, that are actually paying the price to action, putting skin in the game. These are people that I will bleed for, that I will sweat for. I love teaching and transforming. I want you to become more successful than London Real because it shows how great of a teacher I am. So that's the chance. Click on the link. We're running out of time. I want to leave you all with a last piece of video here to show you. Oh! Sharon pulled the trigger. Sharon, that makes me happier than anybody else that pulled the trigger. Well, maybe Tomas for premium. Because Sharon showed that she faced her demons. She stopped listening to that voice in her head that's saying, you're too old, no one cares. Sharon, I love people that do that. Once you make this small decision, you're going to find you're making those decisions in your life, and you're questioning the assumptions that your subconscious has been making for you for the last 61 years. And guess what? Most of them are BS. Fear, false expectations appearing real. I'm telling you, your life is going to transform in this course because we're going to be doing this every week. I'm pumped for you, Sharon. I can't wait to stream your interview here at London Real Studios if we do it to all those people that were on the edge. And again, if for any reason you're thinking about this, be like Sharon. Pull that trigger, all right? And I want to leave you with this final piece of video. And if people do want to come over and join me, should we put the link in and we can kick off this software?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, tell you what, look, I got about 5 minutes. I want to have a couple quick conversations on the Zoom software, which is this video software where we can talk to each other. I'm going to put this link in right now, which is what londonreal.tv/Zoom, ZOOM. If you want to click in here, you can come have a quick conversation with me. Again, I got a few minutes, then I got to get home. So my missus and my 2 boys will know that Daddy still exists and he is married to London Real. But now is the time, folks. This is the last chance. Pull the trigger. Again, years from now, the payment you will forget. The experience will last a lifetime, and this will transform your life. I can't wait to do this, and I will see you.
Aljoy is right on the edge the whole time. He is in.
Congratulations, sir. You fought the resistance and you pulled the trigger, right? Man, you're a shining example to all the people that haven't. I'm telling you, channel this man's energy. We are going to do great things. We're going to conquer our demons, and we are going to become great ourselves. So I'll see you all on the inside. Again, you got about 2 more minutes left if you want to pull the trigger, get these bonuses. I'll see you on that private Facebook group. Let's start broadcasting, and let's change the world. I'm going to go to the Zoom call now if you want to have a couple quick questions for me, londonreal.tv/Zoom. And in the meantime, you can watch this final video about Broadcast Yourself. If you want to join an elite group of people who are living their passion, impacting millions, and connecting with the most inspiring people on the planet, this video is for you. Here's what it's all about. Imagine strolling into your own podcast studio and seeing a champion fighter, self-made billionaire, or Grammy winner you've admired since you were 15 waiting to talk to you. As you shake his hand, he says, "Ask me anything. I'm an open book." You spend the next 2 hours engrossed in a life-changing conversation. You hear stories and insights he's never shared before. It's so powerful, you can feel yourself absorbing his lessons on a deep level. After he leaves, all you can think is, I can't believe that just happened. To decompress, you sit down to check your email. The first message is a 2-page story from a man you've never met. He tells you about how he felt lost and frustrated for years. Then he found your podcast, and it gave him direction and turned his life around. The next 15 are from fans who just wanted to say thank you and I love your show. By 3 p.m., you head home to spend time with friends and family. You no longer work 9 to 5 because your show has grown into a 7-figure business that allows you to control your hours and income. If you want this to be your everyday life, now is your chance. In a few minutes, you're going to discover how to create a successful, world-class podcast from scratch using our Broadcast Yourself course. This program is based off what I learned building a show from nothing to over 80 million audio downloads and over 200,000 YouTube subscribers. All while turning this hobby, which began in the bedroom of my flat, into a 7-figure lifestyle business. One that's allowed me to spend my days having inspiring conversations with amazing people, including Wyclef Jean, Tim Ferriss, Dorian Yates, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and more. The course shows you how to create a quality show you're proud of. It teaches you how to stand out, build a tribe of loyal listeners, and land high-level guests. You'll even discover how to turn your show into a lucrative business, so you can quit your job and build your own 7-figure media empire. And you don't need any fancy equipment or any special background to get started. For years, people like you from all over the world have used podcasting to transform their lives. Like Jabal, who felt like he was drifting along without purpose or direction. He always wanted to have a show, but never did anything about it. After watching London Real, he thought, I want to have a show like that, but do it my way, and talk about the things I want to talk about. He didn't give in to excuses like, I don't know anything about broadcasting, or I don't have the right equipment. Instead, he whipped out his smartphone and recorded his very first episode. That video only got a few views. Now, on episode 7, Jabal Cafe gets over 1,000 views. But more important than the audience, it's ignited a fire and drive deep inside of him. He's doing something he's excited about and has a clear sense of purpose. Then there's Mike and Andy Zaremba of Vancouver Real. These were regular guys with normal jobs who wanted something more. Years ago, they heard me on the Joe Rogan Experience challenge listeners to start their own show. They liked the idea of having a platform to talk about issues that were important to them, so they gave it a shot and started Vancouver Real. Today, they've released over 100 episodes and are building a mini media empire with live workshops and speaking events for the community. They're making a positive impact on thousands of lives and get to spend their time talking with amazing people, including Dave Asprey, Graham Hancock, Gabor Mate, and dozens more. And then there's Olive, founder of New York Real. By her own admission, Olive used to be self-indulgent and often felt sad, especially during the cold winters in New York City. Starting a show gave her something positive to focus on. It was an outlet to express herself, follow her passion, and create something she was proud of. It also gave her a platform to connect with incredible people, including best-selling author James Altucher, who was a guest on her show. When I asked what impact hosting a show had on her life, she told me that she used to feel sad and cry all the time. But after doing the show, she remarked, I can't remember the last time I was depressed. Having a podcast gives you an outlet to find yourself, express yourself, and create something meaningful. It keeps you moving and doing what you love, which fights off negativity and loneliness. On top of that, it gives you a platform to connect with amazing people and form deep relationships with those who inspire you. A platform to impact millions with your ideas and build a tribe of intelligent people who support you and push you to grow. A platform to launch a 6 or 7-figure lifestyle business so you get paid to do what you love, be your own boss, and live on your own terms. As a result, hosting a podcast can transform your life more than 1,000 self-help books or workshops. When you have an awesome show, you no longer feel like you're sitting on the sidelines, watching other people live exciting lives, thinking there must be something wrong with you because you haven't figured it out yet. You're no longer forced to be a cog in someone else's machine, punching the clock each day at a job that doesn't inspire you, doing work you don't care about, only to lay in bed at night wondering, what's it all for? And you no longer have those days where you wake up feeling like crap, thinking to yourself, I haven't done anything with my life. Instead, you feel excited to create something you're passionate about, fulfilled by the impact you're making and proud of the legacy you're leaving behind. I know it's true because it's the transformation I went through. Before deciding to broadcast myself, my life was on autopilot. I'd come home from work to an empty house, plop on the couch, watch Mad Men, and go to sleep. Then do it all over again. On payday, I'd see the number in my bank account get bigger, but I'd look at it and think, so what? What's this all for? It felt as if I was waiting for something to happen, for some aha moment where I'd say, this is what I'm meant to do with my life. But it never came. Around that time, I stumbled across the Joe Rogan Experience. I thought, I want to do a show like this. So I began to interview people around town I thought were interesting. At first, friends thought I was crazy, but after 6 years, the show became a global phenomenon. Now, I get to make a real positive impact on millions of lives, which has led to a deep sense of purpose and meaning. I've gone from being a loner to being surrounded by amazing people. I feel more connected than ever. At the same time, I've turned this hobby into a 7-figure media company, one that lets me control my hours, live on my terms, and do work I truly believe in. Now, if you want a show as big or bigger than mine, there's never been a better time to start. For 2 reasons. First, there's never been more demand for quality content. According to Edison Research, the number of people who listen to podcasts has doubled in recent years. Today, an estimated 67 million people listen to podcasts every month, and that's only in America. That's 24% of the US population. So this number could double or triple over the next few years. And remember, you don't need to be as big as Joe Rogan to be successful. If only one person in 1 million like your show, you have 7,000 fans. That's more than enough to make an impact, change lives, and even build your own successful business. One that lets you quit your job and start making a great living doing what you're passionate about. The second reason is you can learn from the people who came before you and shave years off your learning curve. Back when I started, there was no step-by-step roadmap on how to build a successful podcast from scratch. Sure, there were blogs and courses out there, but the ones I looked at just overloaded me with information and left me to figure it out for myself. Not only that, they skipped over the 2 most critical steps in creating a high-quality show. The first is teaching you how to mix your passions with what listeners are dying to hear. When you do that, your show is something you're excited to do, and people are eager to hear it from day one. The second is how to create a world-class interview so you can have riveting conversations bursting with inspiring stories and life-changing ideas. If you feel you have nothing unique or insightful to share, like I did, this is a game changer. Asking the right questions and getting guests to open up makes for a compelling show. It keeps listeners coming back and takes hardly any effort on your part. Most of the material out there just focuses on what microphones or software to use. And while that's important, it's only a tiny piece of the puzzle. Nobody shows you how to turn your passion into a show that stands out, or land high-level guests when you're just starting, or run a world-class interview that's a cut above what's out there, where people open up and share their deepest fears, struggles, and dreams. For years, people have asked me for help on how to do all those things and more. So I decided to put my knowledge into a simple, step-by-step system you can use to have the success I've had in a fraction of the time. The result is our everything included course called Broadcast Yourself, which I'll introduce to you now. This is an 8-week online course where I guide you step by step to find your passion and turn it into a successful, world-class podcast. It has hours of videos showing you how to launch an awesome podcast from scratch and turn it into a 7-figure media empire. In this course, you'll learn how to find the perfect theme for you, land quality guests, build a loyal following, run a world-class interview, and much, much more. Plus, you'll have multiple calls per week with my staff and me to keep you on track and hold you accountable. Let's take a quick peek at what's in the program. Module 1 is where you find your podcast idea. This is all about finding that one perfect theme that blends your interests with what people are dying to hear. First, we'll help you tap into a deeper drive and motivation by helping you find your podcasting why. This is your core reason for starting that keeps you inspired, so your show is fun and not a chore. Next, I'll guide you through the 3 steps in my podcast idea generation process. Here you'll find out what you're passionate about and how to blend your interests to create a show that's new and compelling. Finally, we'll build your mini audience. We'll show you how to test your show on a small audience so you'll know what's working and what to throw out. This will help you get traction months or years faster than most podcasts. Once you have a clear direction, you can move on to Module 2, Test Your Podcast. At Google, they developed a process for getting real-world validation for their ideas in 1 week. We adapted it at London Real and even created a method for applying it to podcasting, so you can be certain your podcast will resonate before you lift a finger to build it. Most podcast hosts spend a year or more trying to find out what people want to hear. But with this process we created, you can validate your idea and do it in less than a week. We'll also show you how to survey the competitive landscape and make your show competition-proof. You'll see how to carve a niche for yourself that you can dominate so you stand out from the crowd starting on day 1. We'll also cover your 1,000 True Fans roadmap so you can align your interests with the gaping holes in the market and generate your 1,000 true fans as fast as possible through subcultures you already belong to. Next is Module 3, Build Your Platform. This is where you start creating the show itself. We'll show you the perfect microphone and software for you based on your goals and budget, along with the best places to go for web hosting and artwork, so you can avoid complex or expensive tools that you simply don't need. We'll even hook you up with tutorials on how to use your equipment, so you won't have to deal with the headache of figuring out all the tech stuff. Then we'll show you how to name your podcasts so it stands out, sticks in people's brains, and is a reflection of you. After that, you'll be ready for Module 4, Book Your Guests. This is where you stay booked with a stream of high-level guests you're eager to talk to. Here, you'll learn the 5 places to find great guests and how to mine sites like iTunes and Amazon to find high-level people who would love to be interviewed by you. Then, we'll give you word-for-word email templates for reaching out and getting them to be on your show. These are the same templates I used to land guests like 6-time Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates back when I only had a few listeners. We'll even show you how to nurture relationships so high-level influencers come to you. These are advanced strategies for making friends with gatekeepers like the publisher of Penguin Books. A single connection like that can open the doors to a flood of amazing guests. In Module 5, you'll create your podcast pilot. Now that you've laid the groundwork, it's time to crank out that very first show. Here, you'll get the interview prep template I use to get ready for my shows, so you'll know exactly what to ask and when. This will keep the conversation compelling while helping your guests feel comfortable opening up to you. You'll even see the exact prep forms I used for my interviews with Tim Ferriss, Dorian Yates, and Graham Hancock. You can follow them and set yourself up for a great show before you even see your guests. Then you'll see how to rock your interview with my 3-step process for creating an environment where guests trust you and feel safe, so they're willing to share their deepest fears, struggles, and dreams with you. Next, you'll learn the secrets of minimalist production, so you can create a high-quality show without wasting time or a small fortune on edits. In Module 6, you'll learn advanced London Reel broadcast secrets. This is my favorite. It's where you learn the trade secrets for outstanding content that'll set you apart and help you win a loyal following. You'll learn how to open, lead, and close a conversation, and how to use signature questions so your show stands out and sticks in people's minds. You'll discover how to create your own interview ritual so you get in the zone and nail your podcast from the moment you sit down. And we break down the 10 styles of great interviewers so you can blend the best of others with your personal flavor and create a fascinating show where your voice and personality shine through. In Module 7, you'll promote your podcast. This shows you the best ways to get your show in front of a massive audience as fast as possible. You'll get the London Reel pre-launch strategy guide. This shows you the only 3 things you need to focus on for building your tribe, so you can ignore the shiny tactics like SEO and Instagram that seems important but are actually huge time wasters. You'll learn how to leverage other people's audiences to grow your show and get a word-for-word email template for landing great guests on other popular podcasts. And you'll get the podcast marketing blueprint, so you can continually build awareness and anticipation for your shows in just 15 minutes a day. Finally, there's Module 8, Launch Your Podcast. You'll learn how to rapidly build an audience using the surround sound strategy and get traction immediately through pre-existing communities. To make it easy, you'll even get done-for-you emails you can use to spread the word and attract listeners. Then, you'll build a 12-month success roadmap so you know where you're going and the exact metrics you need to make your show a success. And you'll discover how to deal with critics, naysayers, and haters so you can brush them off and even win them over without missing a beat. Once you join, you'll get 1 module a week for 8 weeks. You'll have access to the material for life, so if you ever fall behind or want a refresher, you can go back to it anytime. And that's not all. We've created a 3-part accountability program to keep you moving forward no matter what. Here's what's included in that. First, we have 2 1-hour calls a week for 8 weeks. That's 16 hours of direct accountability. I'll get on the video call with you and the rest of the Broadcast Yourself community every Tuesday night and Sunday night throughout the course. There, I'll help you through that week's material and make sure you're not falling behind. All the calls are recorded, so if you can't make one, it's no problem. You can catch up the next day. You'll also have your own mini mastermind groups during that time. These are small groups led by one of my hand-selected podcast coaches. They're a great place to ask questions and get feedback. They'll also hold your feet to the fire and make sure you get stuff done. After the 8 weeks is through, you'll continue with monthly mastermind calls with your small group for the next year, so you can support each other through your entire journey. Second, you get access to our private Broadcast Yourself Facebook group. Here, you'll post your progress and connect with the rest of the class, so you can stay inspired and continue to be held accountable. You'll also have the chance to pitch ideas, network, and reach out to me, my team, and the community for extra guidance and support. We'll be there for your entire journey, well after the 8 weeks is over. Third, you'll get a dedicated email address with 24-hour turnaround response time. Consider this your bat line. Anytime you feel yourself losing traction, hit us up. My team and I will make sure you get through any hurdles or obstacles that threaten your success in the program. Now, this course isn't for everyone. So before we go any further, let's make sure this is actually for you. This is not for anyone looking to get rich quick. Podcasting is a marathon, not a sprint. If all you want is money, you've missed the deeper reasons for doing this. It's also not for you if you expect to get results without actually doing the work. This program will push you. If you're not willing to take action steps we lay out, don't bother joining us. Now, this course is for you if you want to have a podcast but don't know where to start. It'll ensure you move in the right direction starting from day one. It's also for you if you're looking to find your purpose, express yourself, and make a positive impact on people's lives. Finally, it's for you if you have a business and want to give value back to your industry, while at the same time attract fresh leads who turn to you when it's time to buy. Now, you don't have to decide today if Broadcast Yourself is right for you, because it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. You can try the entire program out risk-free for 2 months. You see, I believe in this course so much, I am offering a full 100% money-back guarantee if you complete all of the coursework and attend all of the live calls over the 8-week period. After that, if for any reason you are not totally satisfied, you have 60 days to ask for a full refund. The reason for this is simple. At London Real, we're known for producing high-quality videos and programs. Our reputation is everything. We can't afford to have dissatisfied customers, so if you're not 100% thrilled, return it for a full refund. Now, you do have other options for creating a successful, world-class podcast from scratch. For example, you could hire a producer to do the tech and admin work. A good one will charge $500 for a 30-minute consultation, which means you could easily spend $10,000 in your first few months. Aside from that, you could do it yourself, like I did, and wait years before anybody listens, and 4 or 5 more years before you make a dime. Or you can take the express route. You can create a high-quality podcast from scratch, following the path that's already laid out for you, as my staff and I walk you through every step of the process. Plus, get support from a community of driven podcasters that have your back every step of the way. If you're ready to get started, you can have the entire course today for $2,997. And if money is tight, you can spread that over 12 months, meaning you can get started today for only $297. If I could have paid $297 a month for 12 months to cut 6 years off my learning curve, I would have done it in a heartbeat. Now, enrollment will be closing soon. Once it does, I won't reopen the program until next year, because my goal is to make sure everyone who joins is a Broadcast Yourself success story. So I'll be heavily focused on my students and working closely with them. So if you ever thought about having your own podcast, now is the time. Before you decide though, I have 2 more gifts for you. These are valued at over $1,300, but you can have them free if you join today and choose the Invest in Full option. The first is a training on how to turn your podcast into a hit YouTube show. This takes you behind the scenes on how to create stellar YouTube interviews. It has the most important lessons we learned over the 6 years boiled down into one powerful training. You'll learn the 5 ways to maximize your YouTube presence in minimum time, so you can get your videos in front of as many people as possible. You'll learn how to make a podcast go viral, with breakdowns on how we got over 1 million views on a single video. Plus, get the tools we use to hack YouTube SEO so you can reach out to the right audience. Second, you'll get an in-depth training on how to transform your podcast into a profitable business. We'll break down the 6 revenue streams available to you and how to pursue them, and give you the complete business success blueprint, which breaks down our exact path from no revenue to a 7-figure business, so you can follow it and do the same. This training helps turn listeners into leads and transforms your hobby into a profitable side business. If you're still on the fence about joining, let me ask you something. When you look back on the past few years, how do you feel? Are you proud of what you accomplished and the person you've become? Or do you feel like you've been playing smaller than you are? Like you're sitting on a spring of untapped potential? What if nothing changes? What if the way you spend today is more or less the same day you have for the next 6 years, or 10 years, or 20 years? Would you look back with pride, knowing you left it all on the field and lived a full life? Or would you feel like you're missing out on something? That you somehow became, in the words of Theodore Roosevelt, one of those cold, timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Because you chose to stay on the sidelines where it was safe, instead of climbing into the arena with the rest of the gladiators willing to put themselves out there. If you're ready to find your passion, connect with high-level influencers, and impact thousands around the world, then join me inside. Click the button below right now and let's get started. I'll be right there in your corner every step of the way. I'll see you on the inside.